This is the Troll Patrol, live with Justin Freakin.
Welcome to the Troll Patrol Live. Some dipshit just told me I needed to keep up with current events. It's an odd thing to say to somebody who literally does the fucking nightly news. I switched my headphones over. I'm like, wait a minute, where's my sound? Oh, they're not plugged in. That's right. Okay, there's sound. Welcome, good evening. It's the Troll Patrol Live. It's a freaking Thursday. Welcome, Flash, M-Lord, Josephus. Trolling and patrolling down the street of Portland, Oregon. Hell yeah. Mitochondria, my friend. Everybody should tell Lester Holt to shut the fuck up. I'm glad that caught on. No, that fucking... The dude that I argued with the other day, that pentuple. So I went and followed him on Twitter when I was making the clip, right? And he followed me back. Well, I noticed today that he'd unfollowed me. He has made clips from the interaction with me, but none of them were interactions with me. It was 2 clips of him making fun of Orca in the Discord. I was like, well, that's some high level cope right there. But I am now banned apparently in Pentuple's Twitch channel. I requested an unban and said, don't be a little bitch. He was all in my DMs on Twitter and everything, like wanting to be friends. Fair enough, Flash. I never tell the white anchors to shut up. You are correct. However, I am always incredibly nice to Mark Brown when he comes on. Have you not noticed that? So it's not a thing about me being prejudiced against a black man. It is specifically Lester Holt. Aha, got you there, didn't I? Mark Brown is my black friend. You can't call me racist because I have a black friend. I am horrible. Cancel Justin indeed. Mitochondria, good evening. Welcome, my friends. I'm not high enough for this shit. I would like to think I have a lot of black friends, but if you play them this segment, they might not consider me to be their friend. Oh fuck. One of them decided to defend Eminem, and I was like, "Who do I talk about revoking your black card?" And she didn't like that too much. Flash, I know. I'm sorry. That damn YouTube delay. Good evening, everyone. Here is your meme of the day: a real photo of conservatives trying not to talk about genitals or horse semen. Might have used to have bad black friends. It's been a long week. Has anyone, okay, in a way, like this week has flown by, but also in a way, like, God, it's felt like the longest week ever. Does that make sense? Like, Sparkles told me today, like, it went from the 1st to the 15th in a blink of an eye. She's like, it'll be Christmas this afternoon. Meat Cakes, good evening. I've been saying it's going to be Christmas before you know it. It's sneaking right up on all of you. You're gonna see what I'm talking about. Well, that's been a running bit I've been doing for years now. Like, I start on January 2nd telling everybody it's gonna be Christmas before you know it, and then they hear it all fucking year, and when we get to Christmas, I'm like, see, I told you. Devil, interesting. So you don't have, so you considered all my music recommendations and decided on Tracy Chapman instead. Totally cool. So here's the thing: is like some of my favorite artists, I didn't get when people introduced them to me. Like Nick Cave had a girlfriend that fucking loved Nick Cave, but like listened to his album when it came out with her and did not get it. Fucking love Nick Cave now. So like, it's the same thing with music, or sometimes you just got to be in the mood. You got to be in the right mood, in the right mind space in order to jam on a certain kind of music or to enjoy a certain kind of television show. I totally get it. Princess Kimberly, good evening. I got to be in the right headspace for certain things. Like I had to get myself prepared for Chapel Road. I was like, all right, I'll sit down and listen to her like when I'm in the right headspace for it. And now I'm HOTTOGO. Oh, sorry. Oh, sorry, Devil. Let me approve that message for you. You're fine. Totally throw all those wrecks out the window. I would suggest coming back to the Melvins at some point in time, though. Did I say D-O-G? Did I fuck it up? Oh, I still haven't taken my weed hit. Yeah, HOTTOGO. I'm hooked now. I'm hooked. I'm into it. I watched her Lollapalooza set. Oh, what the fuck? I just got signed out of Restream. Interesting. Everybody still here with me? Weird shit happening. Now, and like I'm in a weird spot where now I'm updating all my passwords with a different password, and now I can't remember which one. Select all that are crosswalks. Okay. Now I can't remember which password I use for which thing. Okay, cool. We're back now. Cool. I love M Lord knew the song I was talking about. I'm on the Chapel Rome thing now. I heard enough about it on the internet that I had to go find out what all the fuss was. Alfie Hamill subscribed with Prime. Fucking A. Alfie, welcome in. I don't know that I've ever told you thank you for being a freaking follower. She's like, I think it's organic. I don't think it's like a thing that, because like she had to trade spots with Kesha at Lollapalooza to have like a bigger crowd. Tadpole, good evening. Hell yeah, I'm glad you love politics. Well, we do politics. We do the most absurd news, politics, and current events on the internet. But also I make dick and fart jokes. Like I'm a very bad filled comedian, and I try to be funny while we're covering the most serious. So like we're gonna be covering murders, and I'm gonna be like giggling my ass off over here. So if you enjoy that kind of thing, you've come to the right fucking place. I'm not even gonna run down what we're talking about tonight because I've already taken up too much time. Let's go ahead and get right to it. There were a couple of different political events taking place this afternoon. I'm sorry I didn't stream them for you, but if I had streamed the Biden-Harris campaign rally, or if I had done the Trump press conference, I probably wouldn't have done the show this evening for you. And I felt like everybody probably would have rather had the show this evening as opposed to this afternoon. So here we are. Let's get to it. Biden, Harris appeared together at a rally for the first time since Biden stepped aside from running for president here in 2024.
As for Democratic presidential nominee Kamala.
Good evening, Tadpole. Good evening, 7 Heavy still. Yes, Matt Walsh did once call me a formidable voice in the culture.
JustinFREAKIN is a formidable voice in the culture.
Don't give a shit what clinically says. I'm going to beat that dead horse.
Kamala Harris took to the stage at a campaign stop in Maryland with U.S. President Joe Biden for the first time since the president dramatically dropped out of that race. Journalist Nick Harper has been watching and has all the details. Nick, what did we see from the duo?
The duo.
Yeah, Abby, fascinating optics during the course of this event. Obviously, as Vice President, Kamala Harris would normally very much play second fiddle to the president. She would not be hogging the limelight. But today, during the event, it was very clear that the spotlight was on her. She would normally make rather quick remarks before handing it over to the president, who would take on the majority of the speech. During today's event, she spoke for about 10 minutes, a much more substantial amount of time than would normally happen. She then handed over to President Biden, who spoke for about 20 minutes. And in introducing him, she had many warm words for him. She said, "I could speak all afternoon about the person I'm on stage with." She called him an extraordinary president. And when the crowd started to chant, "Thank you, Joe," she said, "There's a lot of love in this room for our president." Very much a case that she was there to champion him, but he was also there to make it clear that he is passing the baton to her. And
The
when
baton
Harris began to speak after she had handed over to him.
Why I was figuring they would show the clip, but since they're not going to, I'll come through for you.
And our nation have done more on so many issues, including to expand access to affordable health care than Joe Biden. And today we take the next step, thank you, Joe, forward in our fight.
Oh, you can see he's getting emotional.
Leaders in our nation have.
Now, apparently, he's still fucking salty. And I mean, you can't blame him. I believe it was Politico that had the story that he is still very, very pissed at Nancy Pelosi and Barack Obama. Can't blame him. Exactly. Don't give a shit about his feelings.
He had some very warm words for her as well. Let's listen in.
Oh.
Folks, I have an incredible partner. The progress we made, she's going to make one hell of a president.
So it was very interesting. This was, of course, a government announcement as part of the Biden administration, but also used really as a campaign appearance. Joe Biden putting a heavy emphasis on Kamala Harris. Interesting to note all of this happening just before Harris gives her first policy speech on Friday. She says that she's going to talk about the economy and how she plans to lower costs for Americans. There is some speculation that even though they appeared together on stage during the course of this afternoon, on Friday she intends to come up with policies and ideas that would be a break from the Biden administration in some of the ways that she intends to move the economy forward.
Well, that's fine.
Nick, we're also learning that VP picks Tim Walz and JD Vance are set to debate now on October 1st. What more are you hearing about that?
Can't wait.
That's right, Abby. After months and months of back and forth,
Socialist Don, good evening.
Quantity of who was going to be the vice president, and then a change at the top of the ticket for the Democrats, we know that the vice presidential picks will be meeting on October the 1st. The Democratic vice presidential nominee, Tim Walz, confirmed that yesterday. And earlier today, we had confirmation from J.D. Vance, the Republican, that he would be appearing to debate against Tim Walz on October the 1st. But he also said that he was suggesting a second date when he could potentially debate.
Yeah, what is with this bullshit? I mean, I'm down with having more debates as more content for me, but like, what is the deal with like, okay, let's offer up another debate and then accuse our opponent of being a coward for not accepting the debate that we just made up? It's the weirdest fucking thing.
September the 18th. So far, there's been no confirmation from the Waltz campaign that they intend to do that. As for Harris and Trump, they'll be meeting for their first debate on September the 10th. Trump, of course, suggested 2 other dates in September. What we've also learned today is the Harris campaign seems to be suggesting that Harris would be up for a second debate with Trump at some point in October. They said that the American people will have another opportunity to see the Vice President and Donald Trump on the debate stage in October. No word yet, though, on when that date exactly might be.
Journalist Nick Harper, thank you so much, Nick.
Thanks, Nick. Oh, I'm sorry, he's white. Let me yell at him. Shut the fuck up, Nick.
Stay with us.
There, does that make you feel better, Flash?
On it, we're going to be joined now by Chris Galdieri. He's a professor of political science at St. Anselm College, and he's joining us now from Concord, New Hampshire. Chris, thank you so much for being here with us this afternoon. I want to start by asking you, what's the strategy here in having President Joe Biden on that stage with Kamala Harris for the first time? What is the plan?
Well, I think the Harris campaign is probably going to use President Biden pretty sparingly throughout this election. And when they do, it will be in events like this, events where they can tout a big policy development, in this case, negotiated drug prices for people on Medicare, and in deep blue areas. I think it's noteworthy that this event took place in Maryland, a safely Democratic.
There are no rules anymore.
Not, say, a more swing state where the president is particularly unpopular.
What kind of role could he then play? You said they are going to use him sparingly, but it's an odd situation, right, to have an outgoing president. He's not running again. She is. She certainly wants to tie herself to any of his policies that are getting a high approval rating, particularly from the Democratic base. So how could this look like in the coming weeks?
Well, I think you'll see, these sorts of joint appearances. You will see, I think the first night of the Democratic convention is going to feature the president in a prominent speaking role. But I think, based on Joe Biden's record, based on the fact that his decision to step aside this year was really based on his fears that it would hurt the Democratic Party, I think he is more likely than not going to place himself at the Harris campaign's disposal. In other words, if they think it will help him to go to, say, his hometown of Scranton, he'll go to his hometown of Scranton. But if they say, Mr. President, don't do that, go out here to California, maybe you can help us in some House races, that sort of thing, that's what he'll do. I think he is, coming to terms with his current...
Robor, thank you for the recommendation for the best viewers.
Leader for Vice President Harris and try to get her over the finish line on election night.
We've been hearing reports of strained relationship between Nancy Pelosi, for example, and Joe Biden and the work that she did to sort of push him out. Could those types of strained relationships have any kind of impact on the Democratic ticket?
My guess is that they probably won't. I think, those bad feelings are largely limited to President Biden and his inner circle of advisors. So I think, there's not much likelihood that these sorts of things are going to spill over into the rest of the campaign. And I think from Vice President Harris's perspective, if she does win the election, she will want to have Nancy Pelosi in her corner when it comes to getting legislation passed, rather than continuing, a feud between herself and the president.
Can Nancy Pelosi retire?
About this VP debate that's now scheduled for October 1st. VPs on the ticket can't necessarily make the ticket, but they can break it. So what are you anticipating when you see Tim Walz go up against J.D. Vance come October 1st?
Well, I think this will be like, the really first opportunity for Americans to see these two candidates on a stage together. And I think, you'll have conflict between the two of them over, their different visions for the country. J.D. Vance came to prominence as a result of his autobiography about his Appalachian upbringing and that sort of thing.
It's not an autobiography, it's a work of fiction.
It's a different argument about what the country should be like, what, the future could be. And so I think, between the two of them, you'll have J.D. Vance offering his very particular version of conservatism versus Tim Walz, who has run a fairly,
John of Vision, good evening.
Populist.
No, I'm as American as they
In
come.
Minneapolis. So I think you'll see a lot of conflict over issues like abortion, over the two candidates' military
We
service,
use a wide variety of sources.
proper role of government in Americans' lives.
Chris, we're hearing reports that senior Republicans as well as strategists are essentially begging Donald Trump to stay on message, to focus on policy issues that impact the American people, that the American people care about. But just as we saw yesterday and in recent campaign events, he's very much talking about crowd sizes. He's attacking Kamala Harris personally, talking about her ethnicity.
We'll get to that in a second because he held a news conference in New Jersey today, and it also was apparently a train wreck. Before we get to that, we're going to talk about tacos. We're going to talk about tacos with the vice president and the vice presidential nominee. Harris and Walz apparently dropping a video earlier today on the Kamala Harris campaign site.
I talk about it being halftime in America. We're a touchdown down, and I kind of like the idea of being a little bit behind.
Well, I'm looking at Coach Walz right now. I'm looking at Coach Walz.
Like I have white guy tacos and
White guy tacos.
Tuna, what are you doing?
pretty much ground beef and
Mayonnaise and tuna. I had white guy tacos earlier.
like I have white guy tacos and
What is
like
that?
black,
Like mayonnaise and tuna? What are you doing?
pretty much ground beef and cheese.
That's
and,
okay. Do
yeah.
you put any flavor in it?
No.
Oh.
Here's the deal. No, they said to be careful and let her know this, that black pepper is the top of the spice level in Minnesota, you know.
I'm the first vice president, I believe, who has ever grown chili peppers.
Well,
You
trying
know
to
what?
expand
We'll
my
figure that-
my food knowledge.
You know what? We've got some cantaloupes. You'll be fine.
Yeah.
So, I called you,
hoping
Tim.
maybe we wouldn't have
I
to.
called you, Tim.
Yes.
You didn't answer, Tim.
I know.
What happened?
The most important call of my life. It popped up, and we didn't recognize the caller ID, and it went to voicemail.
Hi, this is Jim. I'm not able to answer.
There you go.
Responsible. Thank you.
Hey, Tim, it's Kamala. I really want to talk to you.
It is an amazing privilege for me. Also, I'm excited. I just want to be part of the excitement that you're generating.
Well,
So,
we're doing it together, buddy.
It's fun.
We're doing it together. How have these last couple of days been for you?
I can see where the energy comes. America is a hopeful country.
Indeed.
People are excited.
In every one of those groups of thousands, sometimes over 10,000 people, you've seen exactly who we are as America.
Yeah.
People from rural areas, urban areas, of every stripe and size and background. This is who we are as America, and we're
Yeah.
all in it together.
Yeah.
And in this campaign, the only way we win is to keep the pedal to the metal for these next many, many days that we have. So, Tim, what's
What's
your
with the cheap
Yeah.
viewers
For
again.
me, the transformational
Thank you, James 2626.
means the river,
Okay.
which is a journey. You know all the tracks,
Yeah.
and I'm that guy. My first car, it's the summer 1980. Been saving up. I buy a 1973 orange Chevy Camaro. Got an 8-track player in it.
She doesn't listen to Springsteen, Tim. She listens to Tupac, Snoop Dogg, and Cardi B. But she did not listen to Snoop Dogg and Tupac while she was in college. I have to explain this to you guys. There's a attack on her that goes around that she used to listen to Snoop Dogg and Tupac while she smoked pot in college, despite the fact that she graduated in 1986. It's just not true. It comes from a Breakfast Club interview. They talked to her about smoking pot in college. One of the hosts later on in the interview asks her what music she listens to. And Charlamagne's like, yeah, what'd you listen to while you smoked pot in college? And then she responds to the question from the other host of what music she listens to with Tupac, Snoop Dogg, and Cardi B. It's quite possibly the dumbest right-wing conspiracy I've had to knock down, but maybe not the dumbest. Shit, I lived through 2020.
Oh, wow.
Previous owner left Bob Seger's Night Moves in there. I listened to it, and it's kind of the soundtrack of my life.
Probably the best Bob Seger song.
Bob Seger. But what's really great about this is I have a 79 International as my car. It's got an 8-track player in it. I have the very 8-track to this day.
You're kidding
No,
me.
man, no, but how about you?
I grew up, so all these albums here, I mean, Aretha, my mother had every Aretha album, and like our Christmas gift to my mother, her birthday gift was always like, what's the latest Aretha Franklin record?
So it's all
Bernie Sanders is warning about a stolen election.
all that and
Attempted stolen election.
and then Miles, and my dad loved jazz, and so it was Miles, it was Coltrane, one of my personal favorite
excellent
musicians
MILF.
for when I was younger was Prince.
But amazing fucking taste in music. Excellent. I slept on Aretha. When Aretha died a few years ago, what was it, like 2017, 2018, something like that? I got like the Aretha Franklin anthology collection. It was like 3 CDs. Holy fucking shit. Amazing. Fucking amazing. I love Coltrane. I love Miles Davis.
And of course
Prince.
from your estate. And he, in fact, I'll tell you, so my husband Doug and I'm more of a hip hop girl.
Yep.
He's more of Depeche Mode.
Oh, yeah. Oh, about the same
but
time.
I'm sure you
no,
like
of course.
the same music.
Of course.
But Prince,
Is she shitting on Depeche Mode?
things. Prince, he and I.
Oh, she loves Venn diagrams.
'Cause, I mean, talk about how Prince was with that guitar, man. I almost know by heart every one of those songs.
I feel like a trip to Paisley Park is going to happen here if the staff
it's on my bucket list, I'll tell you that.
Which songs?
About
They have a lot of music.
and his influence on you.
Yeah.
He served our country. You have served for our country for so many years.
Yeah. I was 19. My little brother, I think, was eight or nine when he passed. He was a chain smoker. Just addicted. They got a bit Korean War era, and that generation of men.
Hold on, did he just say that his little brother was 8 or 9 when he passed because he was a chain smoker? Did I hear that correctly?
He and I love the same because, I mean, talk about how Prince was with that guitar, man. I almost know by heart every one of those songs.
I feel like a trip to Paisley Park is going to happen here if the staff
it's on my bucket list, I'll tell you
good.
that. Tell me about
Take that woman to Paisley Park.
and his influence on you.
Yeah.
He served our country. You have served for our country for so many years.
Yeah.
Oh, his dad died.
Brother, I think, was eight or nine when he passed. He was a chain smoker. Just addicted. They got a bit Korean War era, and that generation of men pretty stoic. After he died, my mom was a stay-at-home mom. She became our rock, and now she had to go out and get work because the medical bills broke her, and Social Security and Social Security survivor benefits. We're fine pulling ourselves up by our bootstraps. We had no boots. That's the boots.
And it's survival,
We paid
literally.
it back. It is survival. We all paid it back. So programs that are just fundamental to keeping people from dropping into poverty, but to live with dignity. You keep talking about that.
We got to help people get through a hard time. We can't have a country and policies that let people fall through the cracks.
Yeah.
I love what you have done with your life. You were coaching a high school football team that was winless.
Yes.
And you came in, and so they were clearly the underdogs.
And
what happened?
Yeah, it's a team, and I had great coaches with me, and we were friends, and we buckled down. And look, I was a fairly big school, but nobody wanted to play because they hadn't won. And this group of coaches said, first and foremost, we gotta build the team. We gotta go out and find people. So we invited them in, and I'll be honest, the first year we did not score a touchdown until the last game of the year. We got shut out in every game. My high score until the final game was my defensive tackle because we got a safety in one game. 2 years later, those kids won a state championship. That school has won several more since then after we left. You build culture. You build winning.
Right.
People want to be a part of it. And that's the excitement. That's the excitement of what it can be.
That's how
I don't give a shit about football.
our campaign is the underdog campaign.
Oh, yeah.
Is it?
With our joy, we also have to understand that we're still up against some forces
Yes.
that are trying to divide our country. It pains me the kind of division and the stoking of division.
You're the sitting vice president. How can you be the underdog campaign? Against the, like, I get what she's trying to say, but Jesus fucking Christ, you're calling yourself an underdog to that bumbling fucking fool? No. He's not even qualified to be on the debate stage with you, ma'am. What the fuck?
That has taken place,
Yes.
right? And when we can remind people,
damn,
a space,
fucking
for everyone to
Democrats,
come where they see each other
That's
and
the
say,
magic.
"Hey,
They're
we're all
getting-
in this together."
It almost feels like everybody's coming out of their house after a blizzard and, a Minnesota reference, and you shovel out, and then you start talking to your neighbors.
Yeah.
How was it the last couple days or whatever it might be? They're re-energizing, and they're looking for their neighbors. We keep saying,
That's
keep talking
right.
about the
Yeah.
promise of America, and we say, take care of your neighbor.
In the face of a stranger, when you're looking in the face of a stranger, you should see a neighbor, right?
Yeah. I'm about crying on this when you talk about...
Oh, this is fantastic for campaign purposes. This is great propaganda for their campaign. So far the campaign has been flawless. For a campaign that literally didn't exist a month ago, has been flawless out the gate. We'll see where they go, Crunch time is October.
Look, a girl from Oakland, California, and a guy from out in Nebraska
Right.
on there. And the number of people I watch just kind of nod and break into a smile. This exploiting the differences, it can't last. I talk about it being halftime in America. We're a touchdown down because a lot of folks, it's easier to tear things down. It's
Yeah.
easier to divide than it is to build. But once you start that momentum, once we come out and where we're at right now,
Yeah.
people want to be part of something that's winning. They want to be part of something that's good, and they want to be part of something that everybody can be a part of. And I kind of like the idea of being a little bit behind.
Well, I'm looking at Coach Walls right now. I'm looking at Coach Walls.
Did you always know you wanted to be an attorney?
My parents met when they were
Sports ball.
in the civil rights movement. Now, I grew up around a bunch of
Prometheus,
people
good
that were,
evening.
marching and shouting for justice. And some of the heroes of that movement were the lawyers. Thurgood
Light
Marshall,
one up,
right?
tip one back.
They understood how to translate the passion from the streets to the courtrooms of our country. And they believed in the Constitution of the United States and the principles upon which it was founded. And that's where they then, in the courts of America, reminded us of the promise, right? And the ideals of our country.
Girly girl, good evening.
Equality, freedom, right? That's
I do. I smell extra nice today. I have cologne on. I don't often leave the house or see anybody. But Curiouser was here the other day, and I have cologne on. I put like a dab. So, I probably smell extra nice as opposed to what I usually smell, which is BO. BO, and then it smells like cat pee in here usually, I would assume. I don't know because I'm in here, so don't let anybody think I don't clean the litter boxes. I clean the litter boxes every day. At worst, like it's a day and a half, because if I don't, they get pissed at me. Venus, good evening. So when I say it smells like cat piss, it's just by virtue of there's 3 cats. I stay on top of it. I have 2 litter boxes, but there's 3 fucking cats. I put on cologne this morning, Flash. This morning. I showered today. I have fresh clothes on. Because oftentimes I will wear the same wife beater 2 or 3 days in a row. Because I don't leave the house. I don't shower. That makes it sound like I'm all grody over here, doesn't it? But like if you're not going out, if you're not sweating, if you're not doing anything, you've got no reason to shower every day. I do usually shower every day just because I like to do that. How I smell is irrelevant. However, I will say that I will give you some advice. Perhaps you have an itchy butthole.
Life is too short to walk this earth for a crusty asshole. Wash your ass.
Oh, it's okay, Prometheus. I love that you were trying to be nice. I'm glad your butthole is just fine. Did I say the other day, Flash? My apologies. Curiouser was here this morning. I put on cologne this morning. I bought us, I was going to be like, I bought us marijuana. I don't know where it's at. Somewhere, but I bought us marijuana. Cause like, I owed her money, so I was like, do you just want me to get you some pot when I go to the weed dealer? She's like, yeah, that'll work. I was like, all right, I got it. Come on over, pick it up. And I guess split a half, you know, I'll get an ounce and I'll split an ounce with her. I'll take a half, she takes a half. So we'll go get another ounce in a week. Or two, who knows? Girly girl, I encourage you to light one up, tip one back. Welcome in. We're covering the most absurd news, politics, and current events. This, not absurd. This, super normie. This is campaign propaganda that will appeal to the normies. But next up, we're going to be talking about RFK. Back to being the most absurd news, politics, and current events on the internet. I assure you, the absurd bullshit is coming at you. Paradigm shift, warlord, good evening.
That's why I went to law school. But the other reason is when I was in high school, my best friend I learned was being molested by her stepfather.
Oh, God.
When I realized what was happening, I told her, you have to come live with us. I called my mom. You know, I have to tell you, Tim.
Dropping some APC lyrics in here. Paradigm.
How
you and I need to hang out more. We're on the same wavelength.
For granted.
Yeah.
And what we should all feel is a sense of responsibility to protect people from harm.
Yeah.
So that's why I decided I want to be a prosecutor.
Wow.
And as a prosecutor, I prosecuted homicide cases. I prosecuted a number of different types of cases, but I specialized in child sexual assault.
No, we gotta spread out.
Things I did was create a whole unit dedicated to focusing
Could be on different times to entertain the people.
Abused, and to ensure that they have dignity in the process and justice. There's so much work that we still have to do to make sure that children have a voice.
For me, that's kind of with me. Get in it.
I'm gonna go back to doing the freak show again very shortly, and I would like you to come on if you were available on a Friday night to come on and co-host the freak show with me. That would be awesome. I think the people would love that.
As a teacher, it's about the kids and wherever you teach.
Right.
Once I had my own children, it became so clear to me, and I think it made me
fucking breeders.
A teacher.
Yeah.
That child who came through the door.
Justin, good evening.
The most special thing in their life.
Absolutely.
Thinking of a parent dressing their little one up and sending them off to school, so proud of them. I wanted to come through that door and just lift them up. That sense of service.
And
it's interesting. Two different
Detroit.
parts of the country. Two different lived experiences, but all coming to that same goal of everybody getting.
Media Witch has hosted with me several times.
Tim, even though you and I grew up in different parts of the country, you remind me of the people I grew up with. Hardworking folks, plain speaking.
Yeah.
People who know the difference between right and wrong.
Yep.
And care, love thy neighbor in the most authentic and true way.
Yeah.
Those are the folks I grew up with, and I know that.
I feel like both of them would actually drink a beer with you and wouldn't be repulsed by the taste of beer. I feel like both of them have drank beer in their life. You know what I'm saying? I am doubting Donald Trump has ever had a beer. George Bush had beer. George Bush totally had beer. I'd have a beer with RFK. There's a lot of things to like about RFK, but he is also a sniveling little bitch. I hate sniveling little bitches. This motherfucker went to both Trump and the Harris campaign to try to get a cabinet position.
It's confirmed independent presidential candidate Robert F. Kennedy Jr. recently reached out to the Harris campaign to talk about a potential cabinet position should the vice president win in November. And even though he's still on the ballot in multiple states, Kennedy had a similar conversation with former President Trump last month as well. So the big question is
no principles.
Why? Let's bring in CBS News
because he has no scruples.
Who's joining me from Washington. So yeah, a lot of people scratching their heads over this, Allison. On one hand, RFK Jr. is on the campaign trail talking to the American people about why he's the best choice to be president.
Wow, Flash, that's insane.
His backdoor negotiations with both the.
Thank you for watching the whole ad. I'll get the whole whatever half a cent that I get from it.
Trump people and the Harris people about working for them in the cabinet and endorsing them. What's going on?
Hi, Vlad. Yes, multiple sources confirmed the Post reporting that RFK Jr. attempted to meet with Vice President Harris last week to discuss a cabinet position within her administration. But according to our sources, the Harris campaign expressed zero interest in meeting with a MAGA-funded fringe candidate. It's important to remember that he did try to meet with Donald Trump back in July during the RNC, or he did rather, to discuss a unity ticket. After the meeting, Kennedy took to X to try and dispel any rumors circulating about him potentially dropping out and throwing his weight behind Trump. But just yesterday, the Kennedy campaign told CBS News that the independent candidate would be open to meeting with both Harris and Trump to discuss a unity government. Though it appears Kennedy did not appreciate being rejected by the Harris campaign, because this morning, Kennedy posted on X and said that his uncle, RFK, and his father, JFK, wouldn't recognize the Democratic Party today.
Oh, bullshit.
Plans to endorse Harris. Vlad.
Okay, unity government. This isn't the United Kingdom. I guess the question, of course, is, Allison, is there a fear from either campaign, Trump or Harris, that he could siphon votes from either of them? And I guess whose side does it favor if he decides?
I'm not worried.
Well, Kennedy has repeatedly told reporters that he believes he is attracting voters from both the Democratic Party and the Republican Party. After chatting with some of his supporters at his past campaign events prior to President Biden leaving the presidential race, many at the time said they wanted another option. Regardless of Harris stepping in as a Democratic nominee, allies of the Democratic Party are still working to try and keep Kennedy off state ballots. On Monday, a judge ruled to keep Kennedy off the ballot in New York, and currently Kennedy is facing legal challenges in other states such as Nevada, Pennsylvania, Delaware, and Georgia, along with an objection filed in Illinois. So there are still ongoing efforts to slow his ballot access progress, Vlad.
Really interesting analysis. Excellent reporting, as always, Allison. Thank you very much for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Vlad.
Hello, Allison. I want to hold your hand. I butchered that. But also, to be fair, I haven't heard that song in fucking 20 years. So I don't actually remember how it went. Maybe longer than 20 years. Donald Trump held a press conference earlier today. Or press question and answers, whatever the fuck he did earlier. At Bedminster in New Jersey. Let's go with a fact check from PBS on some of the more outrageous claims.
Presidential candidates are closing out another busy day on the campaign trail with less than 3 months to go in the race for the White House. As events and advertising ramp up, so does the volume of misleading claims and outright
Boy, howdy.
Former President Donald Trump just wrapped a nearly 90-minute press conference outside his New Jersey golf club in which he repeated familiar grievances and several lies.
There's virtually 100% of the net job creation in the last year has gone to migrants. She wants to take away your private health care. She wants to abolish coal, oil, and natural gas, 84% of U.S. energy supply.
To parse out the truths and the falsehoods, we're joined now by PolitiFact Editor-in-Chief Katie Sanders. Katie, welcome back. Thanks for being with us.
Thanks for having me.
So, Katie, the economy remains the #1 issue for voters. Mr. Trump made several economic claims yesterday, arguing when he left office, as he says, that gasoline was at $1.87 a gallon. He also said that poverty rates for African Americans had dropped 7%, that they dropped 8% for Hispanics. We know Mr. Trump often speaks in hyperbole, but what's the truth and what's not true about what he said?
Sure, I'll start with the gas prices. He's not referring to the month when he left office. He's actually referring to a period where the economy was in a free fall. That was during spring 2020. That was the last time that gas was that low. By the time he was leaving office in January 2021, prices per gallon were up $2.38. That's 28% higher than what he has said many times with this talking point. As for the black,
I feel like this is kind of useless.
He does have a point that the administration achieved record lows to the extent that any presidential administration can really influence the economy. But what he's leaving out is that for Black Americans, the poverty rate continued to drop under President Biden's tenure. The story is a little bit different for Latino poverty. It did dip to its lowest point under Trump, and it's risen a little bit under Biden, or actually under the rest of Trump's tenure and into Biden.
Holiday, good evening.
But yes, you're right. He is prone to exaggerate some of these accomplishments.
Well, as for President Biden and Vice President Harris, we saw them today appearing for an announcement about lower prescription drug prices. Here actually is part of what Vice President Harris had to say during that event.
Medicare was prohibited by law from
I lost my water.
lower drug prices. And those costs then got passed on to our seniors, but not anymore.
Well, Katie, what should we understand both about that statement and also how this announcement is being framed?
Light one up, tip one back.
Sure. I mean, it is true that there was that prohibition in law and that prohibition is no more. But I think the casual listener might not pick up on some of the details. Now, to be fair, President Biden did go into some more details later on in the speech. Vice President Harris's remarks were a bit shorter. But I think if you were just popping in, you'd be like, oh, great. So any Medicare drug is going to be capped and as the result of the negotiation process. And it's really starting smaller than that. And it's actually not it's at 10 drugs that were negotiated and
I thought it was 7.
today. And it's going to be another 10 to 15 one year, another 10 to 15 drugs the next. So it's kind of a slow implementation, but it is historic. But I think, again,
10's better than 7.
This is happening in a few years down the road.
So there's another couple of headlines folks will hit.
But I also saw it before the official announcement. Like, I read the story this morning, and I saw that it was, like, expected to be 7 drugs or something like that. So 10 drugs, cool.
I've seen among the vice presidential candidates, the Democratic
like the 10 most
and the Republican Senator J.D. Vance,
popular,
a few statements related
most
to
common
Governor
usage.
Walz's military service in particular. I want to tackle this one first. So after there was a Harris campaign effort to share a clip of Governor Walz from 2018. This is in which he was discussing gun control. Here's a look at that clip.
We can make sure we don't have reciprocal carry among states, and we can make sure that those weapons of war that I carried in war is the only place where those weapons are at.
So, Katie, Senator Vance then, of course, questioned if Walz, who actually served 24 years in the Army National Guard, ever served in war, as he said, in a combat zone. What are the facts we need to understand?
Didn't serve in a combat zone, no.
Right. I think the facts that are needed to understand this claim are that Walz did have a lengthy military career. He was trained in an artillery division. He did have, he was deployed overseas, but it was in a support role. It was not in a combat zone in Iraq or Afghanistan. So Vance has a point. This has come up before.
And he didn't say that.
But we rated this claim true. And actually, the Walz campaign, the Harris-Walz campaign, has said that he misspoke. So there's not a lot of contention there over what he said in 2018.
And there's another related allegation we've seen from Senator Vance in which he says that Governor Walz deliberately retired when he did to avoid being deployed.
Deliberately retired after 24 years.
What have you and your team found out about that?
I think the precision of the known timeline based on official documents is really important here. And we rated Vance's claim mostly false. So here's why. He made it sound as if Walz got some information about the deployment and then decided to retire. And at PolitiFact, the burden is on Vance to prove that that is in fact what happened. As we've been reviewing documents from the Minnesota National Guard, from Walz's congressional candidacy, that timeline doesn't exactly square up. So I'll just go through it quickly. He submitted his candidacy paperwork for running for Congress in February 2005. This was after, again, a 24-year career. By that time, he had already submitted retirement paperwork that takes months to go through. And then in March 2005, so that is the next month, his battalion was notified of the possibility of being deployed within the next 2 years. So it wasn't a definite you're going, but it was this is possible, you need to be ready. In May 2005, Walz's retirement from the National Guard, Minnesota National Guard went through.
He was technically in a war zone, but was not in combat. Yeah, that is correct, Flash.
The deployment that happened the next year. So there's an element of truth here, and I think it is seen by people who served with Walz that he was wrestling between the decision to retire or to stay in case of a
and it's wild, as you said, President Bone Spurs, the dude that ducked military service, the guy that served 6 years criticizing the guy that served 24. What world do we live in? Insane! The guy that served 24 made a career out of the military is getting criticized by the venture capitalists. They're trying to attack him, or they're trying to attack Kamala for Willie Brown having an affair, which isn't true, or isn't technically true. when Trump has had all kinds of affairs, trying to criticize the fucking Doug Inhofe for having an affair. Wild! These people have no fucking shame. They cannot feel embarrassment.
Deployment. So he did know it was a possibility, but Vance is too fast and loose with the timelines. We rated it mostly false.
Katie, if you pull back here to the bigger picture, the race has changed a lot since the last time you and I spoke. It went from a Biden-Trump race to now a Harris-Trump race. How has that changed the landscape for fact checkers like you and your team, especially with this condensed timeline and the challenge of fact checking in real time when there are debates and conventions going on?
Well, that's the secret of fact checking in real time. It's actually fact checking that we've learned from doing reporting on various claims by the candidates that can take days to ascertain. When the race upended and we had, I'm going to say, relatively 3 newcomers. I'm going to count Harris as one of those newcomers, but with Vance and Waltz, we have a whole new race of new claims, new biographical assertions, new records to examine. So it's no rematch.
It feels fresh. Everything feels. We have Walls, Harris, and Vance all fresh. It's nice. I appreciate it. We're not talking about the same stupid fucks all over again. I guess there's a fucking commercial break.
Talking about back in Milwaukee, where we are deeply familiar with the presidential candidates at the time, we're really on like super speed, trying to learn a lot as quickly as possible, and that Democratic convention is fast approaching.
That is PolitiFact editor-in-chief Katie Sanders joining us tonight. Katie, thank you. Good to speak.
Democrat convention starting on Monday, or Democratic convention. She said Democrat. That's why I said that. I would usually say Democratic. We'll get a little more high while everybody is on commercial break. I think people are on commercial break. I don't know. Fucking Twitch. Tried to play with it and adjust it and shit. Can't control it anymore. I don't. There's like an auto thing to just let it deal with it, but like I feel like it's better to play all the commercials at once and get them over with. I don't know. I hate commercials. I hate commercials, but I want to get that 55% revenue share. You understand? Such a dick move. That's what opening night's supposed to be. It's supposed to be like the celebration of the past of the party. That is usually what that is reserved for. Wednesday's usually the vice president, and then the potential first gentleman or first lady. That's usually the way it is, because it's an introduction of the candidate to the people. So like Biden being the first night is totally like in line with everything. What night is Obama speaking? Tuesday? I've not seen a schedule. Has anybody seen the schedule? But it starts on Monday, much like the RNC. We'll come on at like 6 o'clock. We'll have all the coverage going on. Mox, good evening. They probably want the Clintons to campaign for them or do something, at least hold a fundraiser for him or something, and that's probably why they're speaking. I don't think they're going to be prominent. Also, good evening, Mox. I as well have a disdain for the Clintons. Jesse Ventura should speak at the DNC. We will get some celebrities. I don't know who all we're getting. I've not seen a list yet. I have yet to start getting pumped up for it, but I realize now that this is. Oh, we'll have Sunday night. Sunday night will be the last non-DNC Troll Patrol. for the week. Oh God. The RNC about broke me. Gonna pump you up. But that was Dana Carvey and was it Phil Hartman? God, I haven't seen that sketch in forever. Also, since I've got you guys here before we go back to the news, I have been toying with the idea of doing some extra streams. Nealon, yes, Nealon. And one of the things that I have thought about doing is, would you guys like to watch Saturday Night Live with me on Saturday nights from the beginning? Like maybe 8 o'clock on a Saturday night, we'll come on, we'll watch 2 or 3 episodes. We'll start from the very fucking beginning, watch them all in order. I have them all. I have all those motherfuckers. And it's the 50th year. Eight o'clock my time is before Catterday comes on. I'd take you into Catterday. M-Lord, I am specifically like on at the time that I'm on. Yeah, 8 o'clock Eastern. I'm on at the time I'm on. Specifically because I don't conflict with Dave. I can raid into him and shit. I'm also thinking about live music Monday, but I don't know what time I would do it. And watch a couple concerts every Monday. And the only reason I picked Monday was because live music Monday and the alliteration and shit. I guess I could be talked into other nights. I feel like watching concerts and then I'm gonna bring the freak show back, but every now and again I'm gonna surprise you, and it's not gonna be a freak show. We're gonna do TGIF. We're gonna watch like Full House and Family Matters and Perfect Strangers and Step by Step. Boy Meets World. What do you think about that shit? You look at all that shit. Maybe one Saturday night I'm gonna flip on Saturday night. You're not gonna get Saturday Night Live. You'll get some Snick. Just all of a sudden you pop it on. It's Are You Afraid of the Dark and all that. Clarissa Explains It All. King Burrito, did we not have this discussion the other night? Aliens exist. There's no, the Gummy Bears TV show, the Saturday morning cartoon. I would get up and watch Saturday morning cartoons with you guys, but like I can't fucking, I am not a get up of a morning kind of guy. Well, Flash, that's a nuke the VOD kind of deal. That's not content that's gonna live anywhere. But yeah, we're making it transformative. I really like doing the Thanksgiving specials and the Christmas specials, Halloween specials. I can't wait to do Halloween specials with you guys. I got so many of them. That's gonna be a lot of fun. Yes, aliens exist. But we don't know of anything, because like there's only carbon-based life forms. I think we know of some like microorganisms that are silicon based now, then like that's new possibilities. But like a carbon based life form can't survive long enough to make the trip to even get outside of our solar system, let alone get to another, fucking galaxy, another fucking cluster of planets and shit. But there has to be. You agree with everything. You're not agreeing with anything. If you're telling me I'm misinformed, loudest, and how am I the... Okay, now I'm interested. What am I misinformed about? Came in on the alien rant, right? Because, like, I think I'm pretty sound on that one. There are totally aliens out there, but we don't know of any life form that could survive long enough to make the trip to make contact or even have any kind of communication with us. We don't know what is possible, but I don't think you can travel faster than the speed of light. Time dilation. Well, we've been experiencing time dilation. Are we ready to go back to the news? I guess. What in the fuck just happened? There's been a lot of fear mongering about Project 2025. It's demons, what we know as a Nunuki. I love it. Well, guys, is that from a movie or a game? I'm not getting the reference to. Is that like Mass Effect or something? I haven't played it yet. I've not done my research on whatever fictional race he just cited. I hate Dana Bash. What's it from? You're correct. I am indeed ignorant. You're absolutely spot on that one. That's why I'm asking you, what's it from? I'm very interested. God damn it. I'm fucking shit's demons. What demons? Okay, we're taking a detour from the news. We're not gonna go inside politics with Dana Bash. We're gonna go find out what a Nunuki is. A group of deities of the ancient Sumerians. What in the fuck? This is like some Gozer shit up in here. Are you the keymaster? 'Cause I'm the gatekeeper. And Nunaki, class of gods within the ancient Mesopotamian pantheon. The precise meaning of the term, precisely seed, or princely seed, in Sumerian remains ill-defined, as the number of these gods, their names, and their functions vary according to the limited historical texts scholars have recovered. Among the gods named in some texts as members of the Anunnaki are Enlil. I'm skipping over that. The god of air who separated heaven and earth is generally regarded as the most prominent of these. The ancient Hittites. You get a Hittite slap.
A titty slap!
Come on now.
Hittites and Hurrians. They were in a Hurrian. It's too high level for me. Oh my god. You gotta be galaxy brained to understand this. Oh, do you have a preference of which cat gets shown? Oh, I was gonna grab Maynard, but he apparently ran away. So, Thoughts and Smokey are, yeah, we need some weed after this. Kid upstairs is crying. Kanye, good evening. We were learning about the Anunnaki. Lady B, do you know about the Anunnaki? The ancient Hittites who loved to give people Hittite slaps.
A titty slap!
Come on now.
And the people who were in a Hurrian, whose mythologies refer to a set of the former gods banished to the netherworld by a newer generation, eventually identified the former gods with the Anunnaki. In treaties, they were invoked as witnesses to ensure that oaths were kept. The Anunnaki had several functions in Mesopotamian mythology. The Sumerian myth, Enki and the World Order, suggests that one of their main functions in early mythology was to decide the fate of human beings. They were initially... Usually I get on to people who tell me, like, Google is my friend, but I understand you couldn't summarize this shit. This is dense. I totally agree with you on telling me that Google was my friend on this specific subject. I don't think you are intelligent enough to be able to summarize all of this. And it would be kind of impossible for somebody who was intelligent to be able to summarize it. Also, I'm not high enough for this shit. Oh, have I not had it on screen the whole time? Why you gonna goddamn bring it up and act like you're some big shot because I don't know what the fuck you're talking about? If you can't give me a goddamn 5th grade level summary on it, you're not a very good communicator, Mr. Wrote my undergrad theses on it. Suck my fucking balls. No, welcome. Good evening. I'm glad to have you here. I'm JustinFREAKIN. We find out what that news be doing. We cover the most absurd news, politics, and current events on the internet, and we like to fucking learn shit too. So I'm glad you took us off on that little tangent, but I'm gonna get back to what that news be doing. We're gonna go to Inside Politics with Dana Bash. We have the Project 2025 co-author caught on a hidden camera talking about their work.
Project 2025. It's a group that produced a 900-page document about what a second Trump administration should do on everything from how to deport undocumented immigrants.
Jones, good evening. Good to see you, my friend.
To stacking federal agencies deep with MAGA acolytes. It's an extreme vision, one that the Trump campaign has tried to distance itself from publicly. Now, in an explosive undercover video,
Freedom, good evening.
A co-author of Project 2025, a former Trump cabinet member, saying explicitly that Donald Trump, quote, blessed the work he's doing now. He was secretly videotaped by a nonprofit journalism group, a senior...
Hell yeah, myth. Myth. Hell yeah, MILF.
You are picking up. Kyung, take it away.
It is the fucking troll patrol.
All heard about what you've laid out there, Project 2025, and how Trump says he doesn't know anything about it. Well, one of the co-authors of Project 2025 is a man named Russell Vought. He was not only on Trump's cabinet, but was also in charge of the GOP policy platform passed at last month's Republican National Convention. I want you to look at this hidden camera video. Vought thought he was talking to the relatives of a wealthy investor, but it turns out this meeting was set up and recorded by an undercover journalist and an actor for the Center for Climate Reporting, a British organization. He says Trump's rejection of Project 2025 is just politics. And Vought explained he's creating so-called shadow agencies, getting regulations, memos, and executive orders ready for action on the first day of a Trump presidency. He also believes in expanding presidential powers and that the president has the authority to use the military to maintain law.
Did CNN hire Sacha Baron Cohen?
Talks about why Trump is publicly trying to separate himself from Project.
Thank you for being a freaking follower. I agree with everything.
So, we've got about 350 different documents that are regulations and things of that nature that are we're planning for the next year, next administration. And then you may say, okay, all right, DHS, we want to have a largest deportation. What are your actual memos that a secretary sends out to do it? Like, there's an executive order, regulations, secretarial memos. Those are the types of things that need to be thought through, so you're not having to scramble to do that later on.
They are serious about putting people on trains or in trucks and deporting them from the country. They're gonna go door to door and round people up. They're literally saying that.
We were always going off of, if Donald Trump was head of this agency, what would he do with it? What has he said? And then what do we know from the first term? And that's how we've been approaching this. He's very supportive of what we do, and know that we have all manner of things that we do that's, even unrelated to Project 2025. So I see what he's doing is just very, very conscious, distancing himself from a brand.
And you're not going to publish those?
No.
They go straight to...
Yeah, they're very, very close hold.
Vought also talked about wanting to make sure America is a Christian nation and mass deportation is needed in order to save America.
Yeah, still it's cool, Lady B. Also, to tell you good evening, still.
Told CNN it would have been easier to just do a Google search to uncover what is already on our website and said in countless national media interviews. But thank you for airing our perfect conversation, emphasizing our policy work is totally separate from the Trump campaign, as we have been saying. Dana?
Kyung, thank you so much for that. So the question now is, yes, it is true.
Fight in the chat.
Kyung, I have one more question for you. I apologize. And this is about Donald Trump. He said he doesn't know about Project 25. And the question for you now is, did he approve of this?
Well, this is what we have heard from the Trump campaign. They've just told us that only President Trump and the campaign and not any other organization or former staff represent policies for the second term. But here's what we know further, Dana, about all this. We know that Trump and Vought have spoken at various times, and the former president has adopted some of Vought's policy ideas. Two sources familiar with that relationship have told CNN. Vought says everything he's working on comes from Trump's speeches and his promises for a second term, Dana.
Okay, now I'm going to thank you, Kyung. Thank you so much. Really appreciate
Thank you, Kyung.
reporting. And the panel is.
Yeah, I'm glad I cut her off before she went to the panel. I do not give a shit about your panel, Dana Bash. We got the reporting. That's what we wanted to hear. Bernie Sanders says you need to be preparing for a lot of election deniers to try to hijack this coming election, and he might have a point. Hear from Bernie.
Over the weekend, Trump indulging in a baseless conspiracy theory about President Biden at the DNC.
He's going to walk into the room and he's going to say, I want my presidency back.
And falsely suggesting large Harris crowds were AI-generated fakes.
So that was some of NBC's reporting earlier this week about Donald Trump's false claim about AI generated crowds. That claim struck Bernie Sanders, senator of Vermont, as particularly ludicrous and dangerous. According to the senator, if Trump can convince his supporters that thousands of people who attended a televised rally don't even exist, it won't be hard to convince them that the election results in places like Pennsylvania, Michigan, and elsewhere
It was televised
and fraudulent. Joining us now, Chief White House Correspondent for the New York Times, Peter Baker. Peter, good morning.
Wait a minute, what?
It seems like Trump is laying groundwork here.
Georgie, good evening. I thought we were going to talk to Bernie. Fuck you. I don't want to hear from this dude. I want to hear from Bernie. Give me 1 second. We're going to hear what fuck they doing to me over here. Fuck you, MSNBC. I had a clip from his appearance on Theo Vaughn. That was about a different topic. No, fucking Bernie not going on MSNBC over here. I guess he's snubbing him. He was on CNN, but I don't know if he's talking about the exact same thing.
President Harris appears to have momentum in polls. The former president has tried to paint her as a liberal extremist, often comparing Harris and her running mate to former presidential candidate Senator Bernie Sanders, suggesting their policies are even further left.
As she gives off this California, San Francisco vibe, he has this sort of Bernie Sanders in hunting gear vibe.
She was trying to position herself to the left of Bernie Sanders.
She was to the left of Bernie Sanders.
She ranked and scored to the left of Bernie Sanders.
She is considered more left-wing than crazy Bernie Sanders. Look at her.
He's not crazy.
Bernie. She made Bernie Sanders look like...
I love those tomatoes.
Because she's an extremist. Further to the left than Bernie Sanders.
I mean, they're selling us on her.
Joining me now, Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders. I don't know if they sent out a memo and everybody's just like reading off this memo, but
I guess so. I guess so.
It's like to me, this is like when Woody Allen had Marshall McLuhan in the line in Annie Hall and said, I happen to have Marshall McLuhan right here. So here's Senator Sanders. Do you take that as a badge of honor? I mean, is it a fair comparison in your view?
Yes, before you see Bernie, and if it has been a little bit since you've seen a clip of Bernie is older than Biden and Trump. Could have been our president. Age was not the issue. It's the fact that Biden not exactly doing the best with his age. Hell, I'm not doing the best with my age at 40 years old. It depends on the person. Bernie, however, still going strong, running for re-election, running for another 6-year term.
Look, Kamala Harris is I would say, a very strong mainstream Democrat. She has been, she has her views on this or that issue. But if anyone is worried that she is more to the left than Bernie Sanders, I think it's not quite accurate.
Harris has clearly...
I one up, tip one back.
Right, yeah. Harris has clearly reversed herself, though, on a number of more progressive policy positions that she held when she ran in the primary for the Democratic primary in the 2020 election. Do you think she's at risk of losing some of the core progressive base because of it?
No.
Does it raise concerns for you?
This is the most consequential election in a lifetime. She is running against somebody who is not only a pathological liar, he is a very dangerous guy. You are familiar with the reality that just the other day, he announced that the 10 or 15,000 people who came out to the vice president's rally in Michigan, they really weren't there. It was just artificial intelligence. I mean, you're in a crazy world here. And I think every progressive in America understands that we've got to do everything we can to elect Kamala Harris and Tim Walz. And it's not only his lying, he denies women the right to control their own bodies. He thinks climate change is
My mind is not fine, I assure you, Freedom.
Etc. So I think
that's probably too much weed.
And I think progressives from one end of this country to the other are going to do everything we can to elect the vice president.
You've obviously endorsed Harris when you.
Oh yeah, the Lady B token down.
You'd said you wanted to
Lady
make
B
sure
meant Lady Bong that
she
day.
would represent and fight for all the working class issues that you have devoted your life to. Clearly, you feel she has met that bar. You've endorsed her. I'm wondering what you make of the campaign that she and Governor Walz are running.
Well, look, she has come. I mean, you got to have enormous respect for the fact that just in the last few weeks, she has put together a campaign. She's been in many parts of the country, brought out huge and enthusiastic crowd. She's raising money. The polling is good. She selected, I think, a very good vice presidential candidate. All of that speaks a whole lot to her leadership, and she deserves a lot of credit for that. The point that I have made is that I happen to believe that at a time when so many of our people in this country are struggling.
That is not real. That was AI generated, don't you know?
When you got 60% of our people are living paycheck to paycheck, when we have massive income and wealth inequality, when we have half of our elderly people living on $30,000 or less, I think not only is it the right thing to start talking about issues that are of concern to working class people, it is really good politics. I did a poll last week. Our campaign did a poll, and what it showed is that overwhelming majority of Democrats, independents, Republicans, for example, believe that we should expand Social Security benefits by lifting the cap on taxable income, which is now, I think, at $168,000. You do that, you could raise incomes for low-income seniors in a very significant way. Overwhelming majority of the American people think we should not pay more for prescription drugs in this country than people around the world, which means lowering prescription drug costs by 50%. Can we do that? We really can do that. We can expand Medicare to cover dental, hearing, and vision. We should have a tax system which finally asks the billionaires to stop paying their fair share of taxes. Despite what Donald Trump may think, these are not radical left ideas.
No, they're not.
Overwhelming majority of the American people believe is good policy, including a majority of Republicans.
The Washington Post is reporting tonight that Robert F. Kennedy Jr. has attempted to reach out to Vice President Harris to meet about a possible endorsement, just as he met with Donald Trump about a possible endorsement. Would you see any reason why Harris should do that?
I mean, they got to figure that stuff out. I have not paid a whole lot of attention to the Kennedy campaign. They'll make their own decision on that.
There are likely going to be large demonstrations by pro-Palestinian groups opposed to the war against Hamas at the Democratic Convention.
Damn right there will be.
Pushback, obviously, from progressive voters on the issue of Gaza and U.S. support for Israel.
Yep.
Do you think that...
And there should be.
That animosity, I don't know if animosity is the right word, but that concern, do you think that has crossed over to Vice President Harris? How much of an issue is this going to be for her campaign moving forward?
Well, look, Anders, let me be very honest with you. I have... I believe that the Biden administration has been probably the most progressive administration in the United States since Franklin Delano Roosevelt.
On domestic issues.
He wanted to do that, and I think he has kept his word, and Kamala Harris has been by his side. So on domestic issues, they have a whole lot to be proud of. But I think the president has been wrong in terms of his support for Netanyahu. I happen to agree with the International Criminal Court that what Netanyahu is doing in Gaza, the massive killings, the destruction of the healthcare system, the destruction of housing, the bombing of every university, and now creating a situation where tens of thousands of children face starvation. The United States, in my view, should not be providing another nickel to Netanyahu and his war machine. That's my view. President Biden disagrees with that. Do I think that will have an impact among young people, among some progressives? I do. But at the end of the day, I think most progressives will say he is wrong. The president is wrong on...
Nix, good evening.
But the alternative is Donald Trump, and that is not an acceptable alternative. So we have got to keep pushing the administration to change its views regarding funding for the Israeli war machine. But
I think Harris will after the election. I'm hoping she will after the election. She is still currently the vice president for Joe Biden and has to follow his foreign policy. After she is elected, I hope that she will be more in line. Fair enough, Mox. She can't do anything until after the election. So she doesn't. You say that, but like she's still a part of the administration and shit. And there's certain things that like she has to do for Biden while she's still vice president. Apparently not. Apparently she's going to start to pivot come Friday. That's what one of the news reports that we heard earlier said. But I understand your cynicism, Mox. A white-haired you got Marks. You got troll Marks.
We have got to defeat Donald Trump and elect Kamala Harris.
Senator Sanders, I appreciate your time.
The end of the interview. White-haired troll. I don't like what is going on our, speaking of the Gaza-Palestine issue, this is a good shift here, a good transition to the next story. I don't like the seeming witch hunt that is going on college campuses. The president of Columbia resigning, I'm assuming right before the start of class. We're getting ready to gear up for the fall semester. Are we still going to see encampments and protests? I would assume it's going to intensify going into the election. It may take them a couple weeks to settle into their dorms and shit. DJ Dub, good evening. But I feel like the protests are going to ignite. It's going to pop off here in just a couple weeks.
A major announcement out of Columbia University just weeks before the start of the fall semester.
University President Minu Shafiq announcing her resignation late last night, just a year after she took on the role.
That's right, and it comes after months of criticism and controversy over how Shafiq handled protests on Columbia's campus and calls for the university to divest from companies with Israeli ties.
Here's Eyewitness News reporter Phil Tate.
This period has taken a considerable toll on my family, as it has for others in our community. Over the summer, I've been able to reflect and have decided that my moving on at this point would best enable Columbia to traverse the challenges ahead. These were the scenes from this past spring in Upper Manhattan that saw student-led demonstrations. At one point, police officers stormed a campus building that had been occupied by pro-Palestinian protesters. Similar demonstrations swept college campuses nationwide, with many leading to violent clashes with police and thousands of arrests. Shafiq and the prestigious university had faced heavy scrutiny for her handling of protests and campus divisions over the Israel-Hamas war, including from Republicans who accused her of not doing enough to combat concerns about anti-Semitism on campus. Speaker of the House,
the fact she had students arrested.
Her resignation is long overdue and welcomes this news. For the school community and neighbors, they have their own take on the president's resignation.
I want to say this kindly. She was inept in her job. It wasn't for her.
On the one hand, I want to say these are these elite institutions. They fucking fuck them and fuck their snootiness. But on the other hand, this will have a chilling effect through all of academia, which I don't think is a good thing.
As Shafiq steps down, the university announced Katrina Armstrong will take over as interim president. She leads Columbia's health and biomedical campus and said in a statement, "Challenging times present both the opportunity and the responsibility for serious leadership to emerge from every group and individual within a community. This is such a time at Columbia." And important to note, Governor Hochul will meet with college presidents across the state to discuss their plans in keeping their students safe. Now back here at the university, classes...
Yeah, they expect it to pop off again too.
Still unclear if an official president will be named by then. We are in Morningside Heights. I'm Phil Tate, Channel 7 Eyewitness News.
Yeah, this happened last night as we were on stream. I thought about working it in, but I wanted to get off stream early. I did get off stream early last night. My apologies. Let's go to the story of the mayor of Dalton, Illinois, Tiffany Henyard. Actually scolding the cops. This is I don't even know how to catch you up. This is a pretty decently decent length of a story from WGN. So I hope they explain everything to you because it's complicated. You might be like me and wanting to take the side of Mayor Tiffany Henyard, but it appears she fucked her town out of $8 million.
Several new developments in South suburban Dalton today. First, the state comptroller has suspended some payments to the village because it has failed to follow the law by providing financial reports. That was just today. The comptroller says that she's concerned following our reporting on allegations of mismanagement in Dalton. The decision means that the village won't receive $135,000 this year that the state usually transfers to communities for unpaid traffic, parking citations, and other judgments. And that's not all that's happening in Dalton today.
Are you in charge? Who's in charge?
And a power struggle is also playing out.
It's a police standoff, but it's unlike any you've seen. It's unclear exactly who is running the police department and the rest of the village as Mayor Tiffany Henyard struggles to show that she's still in control. Ben Bradley continues his exclusive reporting from Dalton.
Is there a motion to terminate Keith Freeman?
Dalton Mayor Tiffany Henyard tried to fire her top aide last week, but was met with silence from trustees who refused to vote on the termination.
This what y'all say about the person. Y'all say he's never at work, he'll do his job. Is this what y'all say? So what we doing, guys?
The standoff is surprising given that trustees once despised village administrator Keith Freeman for helping Henyard run the show in Dalton and Thornton Township, but he's now cooperating with trustees investigating Henyard's spending.
I had trouble following it as well, but now Keith Freeman is cooperating, doing what he should have been done in the first place.
Cooperating with trustees.
With the trustees, absolutely, doing his job.
That leads us back here to the steps of the Dalton Police Department. Trustees tried to fire Henyard's hand-picked acting police chief, Louis Lacey, after their investigation found he collected $200,000 in overtime that they say he wasn't entitled to. Mayor Henyard
fire his ass.
She insists Lacey is still the village's top cop.
Dalton police officers and commanders received an email summoning them to a mandatory meeting with Mayor Henyard and Chief Lacey. Soon after, Freeman fired off a reply that read, Louis Lacey is no longer employed by the village of Dalton. Mr. Lacey is not allowed in any spaces reserved for employees without an escort.
We'd like to talk to you about whether you're still running things here in Dalton.
Lacey arrived for the hastily called meeting, but sat in his souped-up Dodge Durango.
I think we're in a standoff.
As the minutes ticked by, Lacey drove around looking for a way into the station.
So somebody closed the garage on the acting chief, and now he's pulling away.
Then it was time to play hide and seek with Mayor Henyard as she circled the station looking to avoid our cameras and questions.
For more than a half an hour.
That's the sport version, though.
Mouse game with the acting police chief and now Mayor Henyard.
With the trim.
Lacey later returned, but still wasn't talking.
Are you in charge? Who's in charge?
Obtained video of Henyard telling police commanders this afternoon she and Lacey are still running things.
Keith Freeman do not work here, he's fired. So stop playing these silly games, Board of Trustees, and putting people's lives in jeopardy.
Do what you want. But anything after this is insubordination.
Mayor Henyard is now trying to pin the blame for more than $100,000 in questionable spending on first-class air travel, luxury hotels, meals, and more on her once trusted aide, Keith Freeman. But remember, Henyard frequently reminds her critics she's the boss.
I'm gonna remember this, because at the end of the day, I told you, you guys don't run the day-to-day, the mayor does.
Both Freeman and Acting Police Chief Lacey are facing pressure to cooperate in the ongoing federal investigation after prosecutors charged both of them with bankruptcy fraud in separate cases. As the power play plays out, it's residents who suffer. Many voice their frustrations at the most recent village board meeting.
What about us? What about our fears? What about our tax dollars? I wish the FBI is around the corner so they can come and raid this place, because all of y'all deserve to go to jail.
Yes.
Ben Bradley, WGN Investigates.
Well, maybe not all of them, but definitely that police chief and the mayor. The wild story. All right, that was our transition from politics into the crime portion of the show. I guess this next one I might want to hit the content warning. We're going abroad. We're going over to Russia, where a Russian American ballerina has been sent to a penal colony.
Overseas now, a Russian American ballerina is being sent to a Russian penal colony after pleading guilty to treason. Ksenia Karolina.
Wow. Ballerina committed treason. Speaking of lurking, I guess it's as good a time as any to do our daily lurker love. Keith Terry, good evening, my friend. Glad to have you lurking. You don't have to say anything. Just wanted to give you a shout out, let you know that we're thinking of you, my friend.
Now, a Russian American ballerina is being sent to a Russian penal colony after pleading guilty to treason. Ksenia Karolina's crime, reportedly a donation to a Ukrainian charity. Her loved ones today facing the heartbreaking prospect of not seeing her again for 12 years. And we are joined now by Ksenia's boyfriend, Chris Van Heerden. Good to see you, but sorry under these circumstances here. Thanks again for joining us. I know this is difficult for you. So how do you feel today now that your girlfriend has been sentenced?
All kind of emotions, you know. I'm first of all, I'm sad and heartbroken and I feel helpless, but I'm also angry and frustrated.
Do you think she was given a fair trial?
No.
No. And you know what? She was also forced to plead guilty, you know.
She could absolutely be guilty of treason, but I still wouldn't think she got a fair trial in Russia. Just throwing that out there.
12 years. For donating $50.
All right, what was the last thing that she said to you when you spoke to her?
The last thing the last time I spoke to her on a FaceTime call was on the 27th of January, where she told me everything is over. She spoke to the FSB and she just
made a donation.
She can go and get a phone.
It is fucked.
The whole ordeal is over, and she was excited, the smile on her face, and we both were just relieved that this nightmare is coming to an end, only for her to be picked up by the FSB, and that was the last time I got to speak to her.
They're adorable.
I'm just curious, did she have any idea, when we talk about this donation, did she have any idea that it was a crime to do that?
No. You know what? I don't even think it crossed her mind that donating $50 to Ukraine would even be a problem. You know, I tried to bring up the conversation about the war once or twice, and she completely shut me down because it's a sensitive topic, and she just didn't want to have anything to do with what's going on in the war, because she is proud to be Russian as much as she's proud to be American. She didn't want to go down that alley.
And aside from you, how's her family doing? How's everyone else who is close to her doing right now?
Mom and dad is devastated. They also fear for their life, so they are very limited in what they tell me, because they are scared that the FSB will come after them. But they also look at me with eyes of what are you going to do? And I
ballerina,
and I understand.
All right, and a final question for you. What message do you have, if any, for both the U.S. government and for Vladimir Putin?
I'm pleading. My Ksenia is harmless. She's a sweetheart. She does not belong there. Ksenia is very proud to be American, and I'm pleading to the American government, bring her back, because she believes in you. Do not disappoint her. And to the Russian government, She's a ballerina, an amateur ballerina. You have nothing. She can offer you nothing. She is harmless. Again, release her and let her come home.
All right, Chris Van Heerden, thank you for joining us. We appreciate it, and we hope someone is listening to you right now. Best of luck to you.
Shut up, George. Oh, no, there's no George Stephanopoulos. Joe Biden, pull off some magic before you leave office. Your State Department actually did a really good job of negotiating things like hostages. We saw multiple hostage releases. So please, Joe Biden.
Come on, man.
Do your thing, buddy. Get the what was her name? Ksenia? Get Ksenia home before you leave office, bro. All right, we got body cam out of LA. Fucking Flash. There was a carjacking. Apparently ended in a deadly shooting.
The LA County Sheriff's Department has just released body cam footage from the fatal shooting of a carjacking suspect.
Air 7 was overhead and captured the chaotic end of that pursuit that led to a shooting.
Hey, stop the car! Hey, stop!
This all started with the carjacking of a 94-year-old man last month. That led to a high-speed chase with the suspect hitting several cars, including patrol cars, and ended up with deputies shooting and killing him. For more, we go live to our newsroom and Eyewitness News reporter Michelle Fisher. Michelle?
David, an investigation into this deadly use of force is now underway. The Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department saying it released this critical incident video in the interest of full transparency.
Oh, they're shooting! They're shooting! They're shooting! Shooting rounds into the rear windshield.
The dramatic end to a wild pursuit captured by Air 7 last month, playing out in newly released deputy body cam footage from that day.
Hey, stand by. The vehicle's going to be in drive. 245 on a deputy. He's trying to ram our vehicle now. Hey, stop the car!
The deputy hopping back into the patrol vehicle, initiating a pursuit.
We're going to be in a vehicle pursuit. 245 on a deputy southbound McDonald from Whittier.
The incident beginning around 2:30 on July 10th when deputies were alerted to a carjacked vehicle out of East LA. The suspect, 19-year-old Luis Flores, leading deputies on a chase along the 710 freeway, throughout the Cal State University LA campus, and eventually through downtown. After 20 minutes, the dramatic ending when the suspect drove on.
Do you want to know why that is, Freedom? Because usually, with most local news stations, like the position, it is the easiest, but it's also one of the most critical. Like the soundboard is like the last one to get staffed, right? It's the shit job that like the lowest person on the totem pole does. No, I'm just saying that like that's the actual live soundboard while the news is going on. They're the ones like fixing the anchors and shit like that. But it's the lowest rung on the totem pole.
Onto a sidewalk.
He's crashed into a light pole, trying to put it in reverse. He's reversing into the black and white. He's flooring it, backing into the black and white, not going anywhere.
Body-worn camera capturing the ensuing.
Oh, God.
Stop the car! Stop the car!
Bullet hole.
I don't think he pressed the gas.
From Air 7, the suspect transported to the hospital in critical condition, where he died 6 days later. And no deputies were injured in the incident. The 94-year-old whose car was jacked initially was also unhurt. And California Attorney General Rob Bonta announcing today the State Department of Justice is investigating and independently reviewing the fatal incident in accordance with state law. Live in the newsroom, I'm Michelle Fisher, ABC 7 Eyewitness News.
Hello. Content.
Hey, Mark Brown.
Subscribe button for our YouTube.
I hope you're doing good tonight, my friend. This is my black friend.
Streaming app on Fire TV, Android TV, Apple TV, and Roku to watch on your TV.
That's what I was thinking. He suffered for 6 fucking days. 6, I do not know that name, I don't believe. 6 fucking days. That's not the only cop video I got for you tonight. We've got a couple more. Fortunately, we're going to Columbus, Ohio, where we have a newly released body cam of a police shootout. Clearly content warning.
Put the gun down! Put the gun down! Yeah, he's one street over. He's hiding on the porch. He's got the 33 on him still.
On the porch? I didn't see anybody.
I'm going to shoot you! Put the gun down! Put the gun down! Put it down! Hey, gun in his hand! Put it down! Put it down! Put the gun down! Put it down! Stop it! Put it down! Gotta get him the gun! Put the gun down! Put it down! Put the
Yeah, shoot him in the back. They get shot at?
Are you in there? Are you good? I'm right to your right. Okay, he's gonna be in there. Get out! Get out here! Come on! Coming. Come on, quick!
Come out! Let us see your hands! Now!
I'm gonna kick this door. Okay. It's one to open right back.
Let's wait for a broker. But yeah.
He's up.
He's down.
There was absolutely no justification for Takashi.
It's a different story. Asante Taj Omar Miller, 21, who lived on the streets of Columbus, was pronounced dead at 1:15 p.m. on Sunday after an hours-long standoff with police. Is that all we have? I feel like we need more story here.
Lisa, what are police telling you?
Calling this a complex case with multiple officers, multiple agencies, and multiple spots where officers
I feel like it's not a complex case.
fire behind me. Still, many officers at the scene. They're focused on the home where the barricade situation took place for most of the morning. The question as to if the suspect fired a gun at police first, if at all, has definitely gone back and forth. But the police union
Sure
tells
seems
me
like
tonight
the police
that
fired
does
first.
not matter.
Roommates just off campus of The Ohio State University grabbed their cell phones when they saw this unfold across the street. SWAT officers with Columbus police focused on a home along West 8th Avenue, trying to lure out an armed gunman. It all started after 8 a.m. when police received a 911 call from a home around the corner.
The callers stated that the suspect was engaging in behavior that they believed was a threat. He did have a firearm, at one point being described as racking a live round into the firearm before leaving the scene.
Officers with CPD and the Ohio State University.
Who described him?
Some chased the suspect in the street.
Several officers made multiple commands for him to drop the firearm, at which he refused.
That's when we know police first opened fire, but the suspect got away. Officers then entered this home on 8th, seeing someone had broken in. CPD says those officers found the suspect inside and again opened fire.
Did he barricade himself in a room, or they actually were able to put eyes on the suspect?
So that's all part of the initial investigation, so I don't have that specific information.
To get him out, police needed this warrant for the suspect's arrest, obtained at 11:43 a.m. In their statement of facts filed with the court, police say suspect Asante Miller fired shots at officers, threatened bodily harm to himself, and barricaded himself inside.
We heard there was an
He's gonna kill himself. We better shoot him.
Know if the suspect did in fact fire his weapon.
So, like I said, everything is preliminary.
Can't go to heaven if you unalive yourself.
All of those facts.
Whether Miller fired or not, the Fraternal Order of Police says even pointing a gun at police will cause them to respond.
Our officers are going to go home at the end of the day. They're going to do everything they can to get home. You do not have a right to point a gun at a police officer. You don't have a right to brandish a gun at a police officer. If they tell you to drop the gun, drop the gun.
And once negotiations...
The cops don't have a right to shoot anybody just because they point a gun at them.
...on the loudspeaker to tell them they loved him, police found Miller inside, dead.
We don't know what injuries caused him to perish, but we're still working through that.
Columbus police tell me they will be releasing the...
If you're innocent, you have a right to shoot back.
This morning's deadly chain of events. They say that will bring a lot more clarity to the situation and what their officers were dealing with. We don't know when they'll release it, but just sometime this week. We also don't know.
Yeah, we got the body cam.
Officers fired their weapons. We were just told multiple.
All of them. All of them fired all of their weapons with all of their bullets. All bullets, all weapons, all the cops. All the cops fired all the weapons, ma'am. We just watched the video. Just clarifying things.
Weapons. We were just told multiple at this point. As you can see, BCI, they are here at the scene. They'll be the ones investigating the officer shootings. Reporting live just off campus, I'm Lisa Rontala for ABC 6 News.
The thing about the local news stations, I will agree, they do oftentimes just read press releases. As someone who has done local news as a one-man band at a radio station, it's fucking easy because you don't have the resources to do investigative reporting. Now, I did because, you know, I'm a shit kicker. I have a fantastic story about the one time that I had to help the police cover up a murder. The police didn't do it. It was the governor's grandson killed the governor's step grandson killed the governor's step granddaughter. I think he was still the governor. No, he was the ex-governor at the time. He used to be governor, and his step grandson killed his step granddaughter over money given to him for Christmas because he was on drugs. I know this because my girlfriend at the time was best friends with the step granddaughter. I did not do the murder. Had nothing to do with it. Tried to report it. Had two sources that said, because they covered it up and said it was bacterial meningitis, and she had a seizure and bumped her head on a dresser. I never met the girl, Flash, but she was one of my girlfriend's best friends. I did know her brother, and my best friend knows her brother. Like he brought it up. He brought him up to me the other day. I was like, that's wild. You brought him up because he worked with him somewhere. Ponder, good evening. I knew him because I went to school. I wasn't in the same class with him. He was like a grade below me, but I went to school with it. Like, his brother was in the same class with me. So I knew him, but I did not know his sister that... Yeah, dude, yeah. So it is the only time that the radio station edited any of my news reports. I had full control over the news, reported whatever the fuck I wanted. I was always, factual. But the one time they edited me, and I hadn't been there very long, too. I did not have the stroke to say no. And it came from the very fucking top. They told me what to say with that story, and they made the program director made me let me make a slight change and say suspected bacterial meningitis or some shit. I'm telling all on stream, fucking 18 years later. I was in the elevator with the coroner. I was at the state police office. I'm in the elevator. And it's the coroner, me, and the news reporter that worked for the competing radio station. And a station I had worked for. A JustinFREAKIN special. So I ask the coroner multiple questions. I'm like, would you say that the death was consistent with the homicide? He's like, yes. Well, how would you describe the marks? Like, I do all the questioning with her on the elevator with me. He gets off the elevator. I look over at her. I'm like, there you go. There's your information. You can do the story if you want to. I'm not allowed to. Ha ha. He was indeed a fell grandson. Yes, indeed, Flash, a fell grandson. That's exactly what he was. Still is, maybe. I don't know. I think my buddy said he cleaned his life up and he was working at like a Toyota plant or something, maybe. So good on him. I was in a class with his brother. I always liked him a lot more than his brother because his brother was like really uptight. Was like really snooty and snobby and shit. And, like, he was cool because, like, he was a druggie. We weren't druggies when we were, like, in 8th and 6th grade or something like that. But clearly, I always thought his brother was cooler. But, technically murdered his sister over money on Christmas. Well, to me, the he's not my target, right? Like, the problem to me is that the fucking ex-governor covered it up and had the power to cover it up. That's what fucking sticks in my craw. If I was to do anything with it today to tell my story or something, it would be to go after that motherfucker who's still alive. And who is not in a position of political power, but kind of in a position. He's the president of a school. I've given so much information that if you really wanted to figure out who it was, Poe Patton, you could totally figure out. Oh, best viewers. I keep looking over and seeing somebody needs approval, and it keeps being spam. I'm sorry. Anyway, I think everyone's back from commercial break now, so we're going to go to San Bernardino, where police officers apparently beat the fuck out of a gas station clerk. So, content warning on this one. Just our parade of chud cops being useless.
Look at that! On camera! On camera! He's not even resisting!
A violent arrest caught on camera tonight. A man ends up with broken bones in both legs after police allegedly grabbed the wrong guy.
And late
the wrong guy.
Police releasing their own video and their side of the story. KCAL's Nicole Comstock has the latest tonight from police headquarters.
Well, the man's attorney says his client did not commit a crime, so he was genuinely confused and scared when officers came over to place him in handcuffs. The police department says they understand why this video will raise some concerns in the community.
Well, my friend, you just became a millionaire. Unfortunately, it's a long and tedious road to get there. There's good news and bad news. You take a beating from the cops like that and you're completely innocent, millions. You're not going to see it for years.
But they're still investigating to determine all the facts.
What are you doing? Bro!
What are you guys doing, bro?
Police try to detain a man named Billy Hill outside the Quick Stop food market in San Bernardino where he was working. The encounter escalated as another employee there recorded with a cell phone.
I'm not going there for what?
If it appears he may have been resisting being handcuffed. His attorney says that's because he was not the hit and run suspect police were looking for.
Oh my God. And the community pays, not the cops. It's bullshit.
And then one of the officers pulls out a baton.
Oh yeah! Please move out there! Look at that! On camera! On camera! He's not even resisting!
Swinging it at Hill's legs 16 times.
We have to expect better. This is not a guy that had a weapon or was, trying to hurt someone, threaten someone, attack someone. The guy worked there.
Dale Gallipo is Hill's attorney. He says the strikes from the baton were so forceful, they broke bones in both of Hill's legs.
There's resisting and then there's resisting. If someone's trying to fight with the police, punch them, they have a
Pigs are indeed.
reaching for the officer's weapon, that's different to me than someone who's tensing up a little bit, maybe naturally pulling away, trying to say he didn't do anything wrong.
Hey, Rodney King! Rodney King! Rodney King!
That's what they're doing to Rodney King.
Body camera video to show a different perspective of the incident. They say they were investigating a report of a person possibly in possession of a stolen motorcycle. They say Hill failed to comply
possibly
and resisted arrest. And they say the video shows him grabbing at the taser and kicking at officers. Police Chief Darren Goodman sent us a statement that reads in part, "We recognize the public's concern in this matter and ask for patience as we conduct a meticulous investigation. Our department is committed to upholding transparency and accountability." Gallipo believes this was excessive force and could have been de-escalated with a calm conversation. Hill's attorney says he'll be filing a claim against the city, which is a precursor to a lawsuit. He says his client has been charged with resisting arrest. The police chief here in San Bernardino says body camera video from those officers shows that man was resisting arrest. Reporting in San Bernardino, I'm Nicole.
Are you fucking kidding me? You're like, well, the camera shows he was resisting arrest. Can't you see? Well, that's what we're beating the fuck out of him. We would be beating the fuck out of him if he wasn't resisting arrest. Surely. My God. We need a hero. We need a man like Christopher Dorner. We have new details in this wild robbery suspect that had the gun of our hero, Chris Dorner, who shot multiple cops back in 2013 after you tried to expose corruption on the LAPD police force. They're not going to say that in the story. They really danced around it last night when we did this. Fuck.
Breaking news tonight, 4 people.
Now.
Fucking shit.
Now, new details on that arrest and $1 million watch theft in Beverly Hills that took a shocking twist. A gun belonging to notorious killer Christopher Dorner turning up in the Airbnb of the two men who are now facing federal charges. So how did that gun end up in the hands of a Venezuelan gang? Eyewitness News reporter Jory Rand talking to a former FBI agent offering news tonight. Jory.
Mark, there are several possibilities, none of them good. That former FBI agent says the illegal gun trade is a serious problem, but of more immediate concern is how those foreign gang members are making their way to the U.S., trying to steal their way to a fortune.
What?
Coming and they're like ghosts.
Former FBI Special Agent Bobby Chacon is talking about South American theft groups, crime tourists who come to the U.S., rob and steal their way across the country, and then flee back to South America. One of the latest victims lost $1 million watch in Beverly Hills last week. The U.S. Justice Department says the perpetrators were caught on camera and arrested over the weekend. And in a bizarre twist, they used a gun formerly owned by notorious cop killer Christopher Dorner, himself a former member of the LAPD.
Christopher Dorner had it in 2013, obviously, when he was killed, and it made its way somehow. It was either stolen or he sold it back then, and it made its way through many different hands. And it's anybody's guess how many times this weapon has been used in robberies and killings.
The suspects, a 21-year-old from Colombia and a 19-year-old from Venezuela. The federal complaint says the 19-year-old held up the victim
and our hero.
His wife and twin 5-year-old daughters watched on. It also says just days earlier, the two had robbed someone else of a $30,000 watch. Chacon says there are more criminals like these two coming, and people should take heed.
This is very serious. These groups are very serious, and it's only going to get worse over time until we get a hold on the border situation. These people come from third world countries that do not treat crime the same way. They move around from Texas to California to somewhere else, and because they don't have any kind of trail to
they're coming for you
or anything.
No, they're not coming for any of us. They're specifically going to very rich areas. If they're stealing, I am never going to interact with someone who has $1 million fucking watch on. They're not gonna be at the bar that I'm drinking at. They're not going to be at the place I'm getting tacos at. They're not going to be at my pizza joint down here on the corner. Just throw that out there. People with $1 million watches don't even fucking associate with scum like me.
You know, they can get away with it.
Luckily, that
was get away with
this time around due to good police work and the fact that these two were still in the area and able to be caught inexplicably, especially after that $1 million heist. Now, both of them are set to be arraigned next month. They face between 20 years and life in prison.
Hello, I'm Mark.
Goddamn.
Get more great ABC7 content.
Thank you, Mark. I'm already subscribed. I appreciate the reminder, though. You're a good guy, Mark. Ooh, this one's a graphic. Apparently, a semi-truck rolled over in Colorado, I believe it was. It killed some people. Happens.
We are on it. We stay live and local until noon every day for situations like this. Breaking news, I-70 is shut down because of a fatal crash after a semi rolled over. It's happening right now. We're near Ward Road. Sky Fox was over the scene this morning, and now Fox 31's Jim Hooley is live there. Jim, we just heard from investigators. What do we know at this point?
I'm always nice to Mark Brown. Bank on it, Flash. Go like you watch like almost every night. You know I'm so nice to Mark Brown. I love that guy.
Drew, we're down here on the ground here, just along Ward Road. You can see this vehicle up here along I-70. There's the bridge, the overpass that goes Ward Road here on I-70. And there's the wheels of the truck itself, that semi. It's kind of bellied up and rolled over. Right there on the east end of the bridge. And just to the west of that, there's a debris field of all kinds of stuff that was on the truck, the cargo that was on the truck, all over the roadway. So it's going to be a massive cleanup here that's going to take hours to clean up before the eastbound lanes can reopen again. But here's what happened. happened here. All this taking place at about 8:30 this morning. That truck was heading eastbound with a load of blue fiberglass piping on its trailer, some kind of water pipe or sewer pipe. And as the truck approached the Ward Road Bridge, it rolled over, and that cargo that was on the back, that blue piping, flew all over the roadway. And that piping struck at least 3 other vehicles, including one that was carrying 5 people that was heading westbound in the westbound lanes. 3 people in that vehicle died, and 2 from that vehicle were injured.
When those pipes fell into the eastbound lane of I-70, it caused additional crashes with several other vehicles. One vehicle in particular had 5 individuals in it. Of those 5 individuals, there are 3 fatalities. The other 2 individuals were transported to an area hospital.
Did it do some Final Destination shit with that piping?
Where they are receiving medical attention and are in stable condition currently.
Now, we're told he survived the crash, even though that truck rolled over in a very dramatic fashion, but he was injured and he's now being treated. What caused the crash right now still under investigation by Wheat Ridge Police, and we're told that CDOT is taking over the job now of getting this entire mess cleaned up. But as we said, it's a huge debris field of all of that blue piping that's all over the roadway. So this is going to take hours. We asked one of the officers from Wheat Ridge Police as to how long it's going to take, how long it will be before they can get it all cleaned up. He said, really, at this point, it is anybody's guess. If you have to come through this area here,
it's possible it was wind.
You got to find a better way.
It doesn't seem like a windy day there, though.
Hooley, Fox 31.
Yeah, Jim, Ken's going to show us how to get around it coming up here in just a minute. But I want to ask you, even the side roads out where you are those pretty?
But it was a load of piping. Wind's more like a big boxy truck. Knock it over. Oh, it also doesn't seem windy, so it's probably not wind.
Jammed up as well, I believe they would be.
Earlier in the morning, it was a parking lot out here. You couldn't get anywhere around. Coming down Youngfield Street in that area, up to Ward Road here, Drew. Things have loosened up a little bit now, seeing that we've, we're into a.
I don't think we're anywhere close to having a truck.
Great job of.
I mean, I know we have them
here, but let me tell you, still I-70
they aren't good.
Shut down for a long, long time during this cleanup.
Yeah, I'm with you, Jim. I would avoid that area, even the side roads, all day long if you can. Jim, thank you for the update. First reporter there on scene.
I might have a story illustrating that for later in the show.
Backups. We're talking miles worth of backups.
Yeah, and unfortunately, when you have an accident that requires this much cleanup and then the investigation due to the fatalities, you're going to add hours to not only the investigation but also the cleanup.
Nice looking road, though.
Still out over it, and obviously they're trying to figure out which part of the truck is good, which part is bad. Then they'll have to bring in another truck and load up all of these pipes. These are live pictures coming in, and just look at the amount of damage. This is that blue.
Over this pipe under my desk
that they use when they bury it in under the ground, and it usually runs water lines. But this is the crash, and it was bouncing off the center barrier, and you can kind of see some of the skid marks, and then the other vehicles involved on the westbound side. Eastbound side remains closed, so does the westbound side. These delays are going to continue. CDOT's
the roads could be better, but
over near I-76. This is I-76 in Wadsworth. The backups are massive. Some of the highway
we use asphalt
because traffic is stuck on those alternate routes, and you heard from Jim that it's going to take a while to clear. So the rest of Metro Denver still remains busy. We've got delays with another crash working along C-47.
Fair enough, Flash. It's true.
Mountain, but with the closures in place, you've got the eastbound closure at 6th Avenue and I-70. At one point, this was really backed up, so they're not letting anybody down through here. And the westbound side starts essentially at Kipling, but the backups go back towards I-76, and it's 4 miles of a parking lot. So this is that route to avoid 6th Avenue is the alternate, but you're going to have to find another way around. Some of the side streets are also going to be better than the interstates. Here's the closure that's east of the closure and the crash, or rather east of the closure near 6th Avenue, but the accident sits along that side, and then this is that drive along I-70. So it's going to take quite a long time, Drew. You know, we've monitored these types of situations. Yeah. It is hours for the investigation and then hours for the cleanup, depending on where the big tow truck is that they need to then get that semi out of the way and that debris out.
I always say it too, Ken. When I'm pulling out the ruler on the traffic maps, you know it's a major backup. We've got 4 miles worth of backup.
At least, and that's just on one direction.
Well, hey, that's why we keep it live and local until noon. We want you to avoid those backups. I-70 is a no-go.
Wanted to make it look like he was smacking the camera. And he took it down with him when he was doing it. We have fun around here. Alright, this is not fun. This one's gonna piss you off. ACAB means judges too. I'll have to do the content warning for this one. But you're gonna get all upset. A teen was on a field trip to the courthouse, fell asleep while they were observing. Judge decided to teach her a lesson.
Begin tonight with a mother outraged by the way a judge
Teach them a lesson.
her daughter on a
Yeah, it was a daughter.
courtroom. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. I'm Carolyn Clifford. 7 News Detroit broke the story 24 hours ago. Well, tonight, the teen's mom says she did not know what happened until we started digging. Her 15-year-old daughter fell asleep, and the judge felt compelled to teach her a lesson. Well, now the story is making national headlines. The entire country is talking about how the girl ended up in handcuffs and a jail.
Bullshit.
7 News Detroit reporter Ruta Olsonaida is following up tonight as the teen's mom.
I'm assuming she's black.
That mom says she was horrified to see her daughter in handcuffs and says Judge King didn't have the full story.
Would you want someone to treat your child like that? Would you even treat your child like that if you fell asleep in the courtroom?
Latoria Hill is a single mother of 2 children, including her oldest daughter.
I have fallen asleep in the courtroom so many times. Do you know why you fall asleep in the courtroom? 'Cause it's boring as fuck. I'm into the shit. And it's boring as fuck.
Eva Goodman. She signed her up for a summer program with the Greening of Detroit nonprofit to keep her busy. What was supposed to be an educational field trip to 36th District Court Tuesday turned into a traumatizing experience for both of them. Judge Kenneth King not liking Eva's attitude and seeing her falling asleep, placing her in handcuffs and a jail uniform.
I'm thinking maybe she needs to go to the juvenile detention facility. You do understand that we have a jail for kids.
Latoria says Eva was falling asleep because the family does not have a permanent residence at the moment. They're just trying to make ends meet.
To belittle her in front of the whole world and her friends, to make her even feel more worse about our situation. I'm a single mother. I'm trying my best. I'm doing everything that I can.
You sleep at home in your bed, not in court.
So the fact that he was talking
fuck
about
you.
Go home and get in your bed. How do you know my baby got a home? How do you know my baby got a bed, her own bed that she can sleep in? She don't have that right now. So she was tired.
We spoke to Judge King Tuesday, who stands by his actions.
And you look like a piece of shit too, Judge King.
Attitude.
So do I have any reservations? Do I think I was heavy-handed in what I did? No, I don't, because I'll do whatever it needs to be done to reach these kids to make sure that they don't end up in front of me. So that was my own version of scared straight.
You didn't.
That dude has cheated on his wife 3 different times, at least.
Scare nobody straight. You made a parent upset. You scared my child. She was nervous, didn't even know how to act. She'd never been inside no courtroom.
Latoria, frustrated with how this was all handled, removed Eva from the summer program and stands up for her daughter now after she couldn't stand up for her in that courtroom.
It's just a summer program.
She been held on tight. She been going to school. She get good grades. She don't give me no problems.
Judge King has offered to mentor the girl. The family says they are not interested. In Detroit, I'm Ruta Olsonaida, 7 News Detroit.
All right.
Did it say he had handcuffs? Did he pull out handcuffs? I just assumed a bailiff took her into custody. Fuck that. And fuck him with his fancy suit and shit. How'd you get a fucking fancy suit on a judge's salary? Detroit. A city job in Detroit pays that much? County job? Sometimes you might need to tell a judge to kiss your fucking ass.
Have you ever heard a court case like this?
That's another 93. That's another 93. That's another 93.
If you can believe it, it's just for a misdemeanor trespassing charge. This is Daryl Jarrell, the defendant, and this is Judge Cedric Simpson, who you may recognize from another.
I do recognize him.
That went viral.
Mr. Harris, are you driving? This is a driving while license suspended.
That is correct, Your Honor.
And he was just driving.
Yeah, Judge Simpson can't quite catch a break, can he? He sets a court date in September for Jarrell, and apparently that was the last straw.
This is you know what? No. I'm gonna tell you what. You don't come here. You don't. Okay.
He was out of order in court, and you can't get away with just talking, especially the judge like that.
Yeah, he didn't ask for the dude to call in on his phone while he was driving. He didn't ask for a defendant to tell him to go fuck himself.
That's ridiculous.
And it continued as the bailiff hauled Jarrell away.
That's another 93. That's 6 93s.
How do you think the judge handled it?
Pretty good. I mean, hopefully he resents some of that time, but you read what you saw.
Judge Simpson quickly moves on to the next case, Keith Jenkins, who watched the entire debacle.
Ah!
How you doing, Your Honor? How you doing, sir?
Oh, man. I'm doing great.
At least he can laugh it off. Jarrell's attorney did not return my call. In Washtenaw County, Scott Walczak, Fox 2 News.
This motherfucker is gonna get a judge show on something, isn't he? Somebody should. They should grab him. How many people in the chat hate Disney? How many people in the chat hate Disney? Oh shit, I might have some people that, like, it's okay to like Disney, like the idea, the concept of, princesses and fairy tales and blah blah blah. That's totally cool. But you should totally hate, and I'm sure my chat does, corporations like Disney. Disney Corp is a lot of fucking bullshit. And if you needed any more reason to hate Disney, let me give you this one.
Legal battle with Disney. This is over a wrongful death lawsuit. He filed this after his wife passed away from a severe allergic reaction that he says happened at a restaurant on Disney property.
It's pretty wild. Now Disney is trying to have that lawsuit tossed out. And as Fox 8's Jody Goldberg explains, they're using the husband's Disney Plus subscription as the reason why.
Pictures are sometimes painful to look at for Jeffrey Piccolo because they're all he has left. His wife, Amy Tang Swang, was a beloved doctor and someone who family and friends say was always careful about her peanut and dairy allergy.
She always had her EpiPens with her, and she was just super vigilant about making people aware to avoid something like this happening.
Tang Swang suffered a fatal allergic reaction after eating at a Disney Springs restaurant last fall, and an EpiPen wasn't enough to keep her alive.
She was basically ripped from our lives, and it's a tragedy.
Peter Giattino speaks on behalf of Piccolo as his cousin and one of his attorneys. Months after filing a lawsuit, Walt Disney Parks and
DJ Dub, they absolutely are, and here's the kicker. He didn't even pay for a subscription. It was a free trial.
Resorts is now trying to get it tossed because Piccolo signed up for a 1-month trial of Disney Plus.
I think that's crazy.
The fine print mandates users settle any lawsuits out of court through arbitration.
This was the ultimate loss from Jeffrey. She was stolen from him, and now in a in fact, what Disney's doing is trying to steal his day in court.
Skipping the terms and conditions when signing up for streaming services isn't uncommon.
You always zoom down and hit the I agree.
But legal experts say knowing the risks are important.
They just have to be aware that if they're going to walk onto that field for streaming service, they're going to have to be forced to play by the network's rules of the game.
As for Piccolo's case,
I think at the end of the day,
Igloo, good evening.
A really hard time keeping a straight face on this one.
loved ones hope this case raises awareness among those who have to be careful about food allergies.
I lost my best friend, but I wouldn't want anyone else to lose theirs.
A hearing is scheduled for October 2nd in Florida. That's when both sides will make their case before a judge. And what happens from there could have implications for millions of people with food allergies. On Long Island, Jody Goldberg, Fox 5 News.
So I'm assuming she ordered something that didn't have peanuts or dairy and made the waiter aware that she can't have peanuts and dairy. Yeah, exactly, Mox. Finding a judge who is in their right mind. Okay, the headline to this one sounds fucking funny. If they made the waiter aware of their allergies and they ordered something that did not have peanuts or blah 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 and it was supposed to be cooked separate, then yeah, they're totally liable. I assume that's. I did not hear them say that part. That is kind of crucial. That they made their waiter aware of that situation, that allergy. I also don't know if there was something they're saying there was. If they're saying there was negligence after the fact for some reason. So the headline of this one is that a woman was hit by her own car on the highway.
There's not much Megan Smith can do at this point without feeling pain.
Second-degree burns on my leg, on my knees and ankle, burns on my shoulder, and a broken wrist.
She doesn't want to show her face because of her injuries. And the pain is an...
Yeah, the story did make very clear that she told everyone that she had allergies. But it didn't say specifically that she told their waiter there that they had allergies. And fair enough, Curiouser, I would too.
Every day.
Especially something, nut allergy is one thing, but like dairy. Like fucking everything has dairy in it. Everything is made around dairy.
A reminder of what happened last Tuesday on 635.
I've just been trying to piece it all back together, and it's difficult.
Multiple cars smashed. Good Samaritans run over by their own vehicles. A man stabbed. Megan is one of several people injured in the chaotic scene captured.
What the fuck?
Dallas police say this man, 26-year-old Angel Moreno, is responsible for all of this. Megan, who is a nurse, was headed to work that morning when she saw the TxDOT worker get hit.
My first initial impression was that was an accident.
But then Moreno jumped in her car. In the video, you can see she tries to run away, but Moreno hits her.
Oh, God!
Across 2 lanes of traffic.
That could have been it. I'm so glad it wasn't.
Several other people are able to hold him down until police get there.
Do you regret what you did that day?
No. I've been told I very possibly have pulled the aggression off of the TxDOT worker, and that's why he's still alive.
Megan won't be able to go back to work for a few weeks. To help her family with medical bills, friends created a GoFundMe. And as far as Moreno,
I want justice.
Because now...
God damn, he looks crazy.
Painful reminder of what happened on 6th.
Did you fuck see that? Holy fuck.
Friends created a GoFundMe. And as far as Moreno,
I want justice.
Because now her life is filled with that painful reminder of what happened on 635.
Even there's enough jerks in the world. We don't all need to be one.
In Garland.
Seriously, this woman is a fucking hero. So yeah, thanks news organization. Woman hit by her own car. That makes it sound like some Benny Hill fucking shit's going on. No, this woman was a fucking hero. Thanks for burying the lead there, news station. God damn. Heckin' random. Good evening. Yep, can't cover her medical bills. That's socialist. Arrests have been made in the death of the star of the show Friends. Apparently multiple people. I think we have what I would like to term like a Michael Jackson kind of situation, where he had a doctor feeding him, what was it, Special K? Is that what he was on? He was getting the ketamine?
News, ABC News just learned arrests have been made stemming from the death of Friends actor Matthew Perry. Perry died last October after he was found underwater in his hot tub. His death was ruled the result of the drug ketamine. Now federal charges have been filed in the case.
Have a good evening, Freedom.
Alex Stone in Los Angeles for more.
Light one up, tip one back.
What's the latest and what do we know about these arrests?
Well, Diane, this is breaking right now. We have just confirmed a moment ago that an operation that went on overnight to make arrests in this case concluded a few minutes ago. There is going to be an announcement, an official announcement made in a couple of hours from now that there have been arrests and that federal charges have been filed. We have known that this investigation had been underway.
Texas, good evening.
For a while, a number of months. The LAPD, the DEA, the U.S. Postal Service being involved, maybe that mail was involved to get the ketamine to Matthew Perry. But now after many months of investigating led by the DEA, now we know charges have been filed.
Alex, what do you know about how this investigation...
Well, he was getting like large doses. Was it ketamine? Is that the drug that he was on? It doesn't say down here. Yeah, he was getting large doses of ketamine. Like, you don't get that, like, from a street dealer and shit.
Unfolded, you know, what initially looked like
fair enough
an accident,
but like it's illegal to sell. Like,
well, it was ruled to have been an accident by the medical examiner here in Los Angeles County, so it is still seen as an accident. But it is a question of,
I don't know,
where did that ketamine come from? We know that he was getting ketamine treatment, a therapeutic level of ketamine treatment, and that this went beyond that. That it was being used in a recreational sense. He was in a hot tub. It is believed he took it, then went underwater, and then never came back above the water, went unconscious, and went under. So it's been a question of where it came from and what the source...
Well, did his heart stop while he was underwater? Is that what happened? His heart stopped on the drugs and he drowned?
...of the ketamine was, and the investigation going through the tree of who could have given it to him.
Final K-hole.
Who was the supplier before that? Who gave it to that supplier? It is going down and shaking down that tree that they have been doing for almost a year now. We have been led to the Mac Miller case from 2019, the rapper, singer, songwriter. He too died of an overdose, not ketamine, but an overdose. That went down that tree. 3 people were charged in that. Some are now going to prison for a very long time. We're told that this is going to look a lot like that.
Now, the U.S. Attorney in Los Angeles and the DEA Administrator are set to hold a press conference this afternoon. What are you watching for there?
Well, it's the first time they're going to come out and talk about this case. In fact, the LAPD has never talked about this case on camera, on microphone either, and that they're going to come out and now say what they know. It was a Saturday. It was October 28th of last year when we got word that there was a death at his home, and then we confirmed that it was Matthew Perry. LA firefighters went.
Yeah, he did some K on Halloween weekend.
They were unable. And then the investigation began. And the investigation has been ongoing since October 28th to figure out where he got the ketamine from. This is the culmination of that, with these charges now being...
That's exactly why
this operation, these arrests
died,
unfolding
Venus.
really within the last hour, concluding right now.
And Alex, where does this investigation go from here?
Well, it's a good question. We don't know if it is over at this point or if it's going to continue on, if more could be involved. We don't know who these people are yet. We don't know.
Yeah, that's the thing. We don't know who they are.
It's somebody in the medical community, if it's friends, if it's street-level drug dealers. In the Mac Miller case, one of the guys was a street-level drug dealer and then the supplier above him. So this could go any number of different ways. We are going to get a lot of details, a lot yet to learn who these people are, what the charges are, but linking back to the death of Matthew Perry.
And Alex, he was under sort of a medical setting ketamine treatment at some point. Have investigators said if they think that's related at all, or if this was something that he was doing completely separate from that?
It is believed, Diane, that this was completely separate from that this was not involving the therapeutic sense that he was taking ketamine for. There's a lot of debate about ketamine and the uses for it, but it has become quite a popular. I had a federal agent
thank you, Random.
yesterday. Ketamine is everywhere, and it seems like everybody is taking ketamine now, that it was kind of the secret
Sounds like this reporter's taking ketamine.
Of Hollywood up until Matthew Perry's death. But ketamine is all over the place, and it is a popular.
I've done some ketamine.
It appears that he was taking it recreationally, based on that he was getting treatment for it, but the half-life on it is very short.
I've never done ketamine.
Seen anybody therapeutically for a number of days.
Is it horse tranquilizer? Is that what it is? No one has ever been like, hey, you want to do some ketamine? I mean, I guess I'd try it. I'd try about anything.
And he still overdosed. So they believe
hey, curious, sir.
His own, and that where he got it from, that's what this is.
No, I really will try anything,
Alex
pretty
Stone,
much.
thanks for staying on top of this for us.
You got it.
We, of course, will have more on this investigation as we learn more on those arrests.
Where you get it? Score some K. Or is it a drug you want to party on? You want to party and play? You need a hot woman like Anna Paulina Luna to come and hang out with you while you do some Special K. To be perfectly clear before we do this, I am not slut-shaming her in any way, shape, or form. This is probably the coolest thing about this stupid-ass woman. Other than the fact that's what's on the bikini. I cannot describe to you the way people on both sides of Twitter are losing their fucking minds. This is Florida Representative Anna Paulina Luna, who has a great ass. I'm not going to hold that against her. Florida Republican Representative Anna Paulina Luna responded to years-old footage of the Donald Trump-backing lawmaker dancing in a MAGA-themed swimsuit that resurfaced on Wednesday. The 35-year-old Pole sported the suit in a 2016 video to show her support for Trump before she began serving in the House of Representatives at the start of last year. On it if you got it. I'd have no problem with it. The 35-year-old, and she's not my type, but like I'll give her props. She don't look bad. Luna leaned into the social media stir while she blamed liberals for the unearthed image in a series of tweets. I'm confirming that I have indeed worn swimsuits, and you can tell I am biologically a woman. A little transphobia you got to throw in there. The Republican also noted she was previously featured by Sports Illustrated and Maxim, while also designing swimwear and women's shirts before she took a shot at Democrats. I have a confession to make. Since the TikTok Democrats are on to me, I wear bikinis to the beach and mineral sunscreen? What's mineral sunscreen? Oh, that the thing? I don't go out of the house. I don't know what sunscreen is. She is a Judeo-Christian nutter. There are better things to do with your time than digging up modeling photos of me from almost a decade ago. The left is attempting to make this a thing, yet can't define a woman. Very low IQ behavior. Remember when they lost their minds over that video of AOC dancing? Just saying, there's a bit of a double standard. Colloidal silver, isn't that the shit that'll turn you blue? For anyone that thinks self-driving cars are the way of the future, apparently you don't want nothing to do with them. And you might not want to be in a neighborhood where they park. Might keep you up all night.
Past few weeks, Randall White has been dealing with a persistent and annoying problem right outside his San Francisco condo.
So I was like, where's that coming from? I looked down and I was like, I think it's coming from the Waymo cars.
This parking lot full of driverless Waymo cars has had multiple incidents where suddenly the vehicles become confused and start honking all at each other. White says he heard it for the first time about 2 weeks ago after he was woken up around 4 a.m.
Then it happened again and again, and I started thinking, well, this is an issue.
White isn't the only one who's had issues with the noises either. Several people who live in the buildings nearby the parking lot have also had similar complaints.
Over the past 2 weeks, I've been woken up more times overnight than I have combined over 20 years.
Russell Pofsky lives in a building adjacent to White. He says the honking incidents have happened at random times during both the day and night and have started to take a toll on him.
I could not be more cranky today.
The honking!
After these past 2 weeks, it's really at a high level. It's just.
I understand, bro.
It's tough. It affects the way you feel.
White says he and others have reached out to Waymo about the issue. In a statement sent to ABC 7 News, Waymo says, quote, "We are aware that in some scenarios, our vehicles may briefly honk while navigating our parking lots. We have identified the cause and are in the process of implementing a fix." White says Monday afternoon was the first time the honking seems.
Oh, these things are a fucking public safety nuisance. And like everywhere they've been, like they're in like 3 or 4 different cities that they're trying them out. All of those cities, the people hate them.
Have gotten better. Despite the inconvenience, he tells me he's still a fan of the autonomous vehicle company and uses the cars on a regular basis.
Wow.
And so I was all about it until the honking started. And all I really want is resolution.
In San Francisco, Jim Johns, ABC 7 News.
They have injured multiple people. I think we're going to Williamsburg, Virginia. A mysterious black ring appeared in the sky.
Mysterious black ring appeared in the sky.
I just said that.
On Tuesday. Several Wavy TV 10 viewers reached out to the station with images and video of the ominous-looking ring floating in the sky. The messages started coming in shortly after 11 a.m. on Tuesday. One Wavy viewer sent in a video when he was working in the vicinity of Eastern State Hospital in Williamsburg. Another Wavy viewer was in the area of Old Moortown Road. He stopped to snap some photos. We discovered news articles and social media posts describing other similar sightings.
The fuck is that?
Reports said a fire or some type of explosion could have caused the ring. We did reach out to the James City County Fire Department to see if there were any reports.
I dropped my cock ring
at the time. The fire chief had not heard of any. If you know what caused the black ring or have any pictures or video to add to our coverage, please let us know on wavy.com.
We got the black ring mystery going on over here. A giant blunt? Maybe? All right, we're at the end of my list of news. But I might have one more thing in my back pocket for you guys. How would you guys like a police chase? This happened last night on the 210 in LA. Woof woof, bitch. I'm sorry, that was for those of you who aren't wrestling fans. Years and years ago, Vince McMahon did this thing where he made Trish Stratus bark like a dog. And then like just a couple of like maybe a year ago, Trish was in like a feud with Becky Lynch, and Becky Lynch looked at Trish and was like, "Woof woof, bitch." And it cracked me up. Oh my god. It was a hilarious line. Anyway, here's the police chase.
All right,
motorcycle.
Yeah, I think we've reestablished our transmission here. You can see continuing now westbound.
As Ryback. That's amazing, Texas.
For the few cars that are on the 210 this evening, but then once he gets clearance, you can see him speeding right up, mostly hugging those left lanes.
Most news channels in our country don't have helicopters. This is LA.
Using every ounce of freeway, every inch of freeway, I should say.
That's one of the reasons why most of the police chases we watch
the suspect and doing an excellent
come
job
from LA.
Despite the extreme speeds, we're continuing to follow him at between.
Yeah, if only there'd been red flags about what a creep Vince McMahon is.
He is going to use every ounce of gas left in that tank. As
if only I could. Not like I could name them off for days.
Into the San Fernando Valley. He'll be coming into the valley here in just a couple of minutes.
There'll be peace in the valley. Once again, this happened last night about 9:34.
Passing through Tahunga here again, finding his sweet spot there on that
Pacific
left lane,
time.
130 miles per hour, cruising with looks like a dark color shirt, light shorts, is wearing a helmet.
That's one of those street bikes, isn't it? It's like a Suzuki or a Kawasaki or some shit, if I'm not mistaken.
If there was any kind of traffic on this freeway, CHP likely would have to give this up because of the dangerous nature of these speeds. But with only a few cars out there, they are able to.
Yeah, this is amazingly light traffic for LA.
With him, he has really not exceeded 140 miles per hour, and he's continuing.
He gunned it just then.
Drive, other than the high speeds here, he's basically driving with minimal risk to other motorists here.
Flash, good evening.
One wrong move, and that could all change very rapidly. But again, there's not a whole lot of cars out there.
Did you just trick me out of a second good evening?
As long as they see it, as long as they decide that it's a safe speed or safe pursuit, they can try and keep up with them. Again, they're doing about...
Trick me out of a second good evening.
Now down to about 100 miles per hour.
I do not know how this one ends.
All the way back over.
I want to say that at one time I did know how it ends, but I forgot. Where's Sparkles at? He was reading somebody's thesis. That's probably what she's doing. Holiday looking out for some fellow Ontarians. Is that what you call yourselves, Ontarians? Oh, it would suck if he blew a tire. Are you trying to hook up? Are you looking for singles in your area? Local MILFs want to fuck.
Getting off the freeway, off of the 210 freeway at Osborne Street as he comes into the Pacoima area off the nose here. He is now on surface streets in Lakeview Terrace. And he may go through and get back on the freeway. Looks like he's getting back on, getting right back on the freeway. Gets off at Osborne, gets back onto the entrance ramp of the 210 freeway, continuing through Lakeview Terrace. CHP continuing to follow, not too far behind here at speeds in excess of 120 miles per hour as he continues to gas that motorcycle. He is pushing that bike to the limit here as he continues these high speeds. Again, this all started as
the LAPD usually doesn't
out in Covina,
too closely.
57 freeway onto the 210. He has remained on the 210 freeway ever since.
They kind of fall behind.
Freeway here in just about a half mile. CHP now handing this off to Altadena. They are continuing to travel at extreme speeds to keep up with the suspect. And once again, that motorcyclist getting off of the 210 freeway, this time at Paxton Street here in the San Fernando Valley, coming up on a red light, I believe, making a left turn here under the freeway, under the overpass. Those cruisers making the turn with him, and he's going to turn around. He's turning around, getting back on the freeway, getting back on the southbound side. That's going to be the eastbound 210 freeway, which is literally south. As he gets back onto the freeway, they're going to make that left turn with him, doing a full U-ey, and now getting back onto the freeway. Again, light traffic on the 210 freeway as he now reverses course, going back in the opposite direction and getting all the way back over to the left shoulder to get around even that left lane traffic.
There's a barrier there, isn't there?
Shoulder where he sees fit to try and get around whatever traffic's in his way here. But as you can see here, traffic again relatively light.
Like, it'd be funny if he just went ahead and went on to the other side.
Patrol with their helicopter shining that night sun on that motorcycle. Keeping
they weren't even connected.
Dangerous speeds. CHP, these new units falling back just a little bit, but they have handed it off to their Altadena division, and you can see there are at least 2 units.
I don't know that we know.
Passing Foothill here as he continues.
I don't know that the reporters knew at this time.
Now traveling back.
I might be able to give you an update after we watch this, though. Yeah, when the cops got up close to him, he was able to, like, hit another 20, 30 miles per hour pretty quick. There you see the LAPD airship.
Just joining us on ABC7.com and our 24/7 streaming channels. Chris Christie up in Air 7 HD as we continue to follow
Chris Christie.
Motorcycle pursuit through Latuni Canyon, down the 210 freeway here with California Highway Patrol up above.
Killed the Dane. What's going on, my friend?
Trying to keep up with that motorcycle, trying to maintain a visual and not lose sight.
It is fast.
If he continues at these
Did I say your name right?
Exhaust the rest of the fuel in that motorcycle.
Crotch rocket. That was the term I was looking for.
But we'll see how much time he's got left on this bike. You can see him using all 4 lanes of the freeway, swerving around anybody in his way. Traffic is relatively light here on the 210 freeway. He's been traveling westbound on the 210, reversing.
Love it, isn't it?
Now getting off of the 210 freeway.
Dane, my friend, we're glad to have you here.
Boulevard. And we'll see if he continues the pattern.
I'm JustinFREAKIN.
Continue this.
We cover the most absurd news, politics, and current events on the internet.
This onto surface streets as he may be running.
What?
Might be running out of gas here at the exit.
No way.
CHP now out of their vehicles with their guns drawn.
Well, this was uneventful.
Now stopped with his hands up, showing his hands, shutting the bike off, and showing his hands. Getting off of the motorcycle.
I feel gypped.
Surrendering to the California Highway Patrol after that tank appears to have run empty.
When you're pushing those kinds of speeds, man, you're gonna use up the gas.
Out now, being placed into handcuffs, and this is
true. Best outcome for him.
Rider in custody
and everybody involved.
After a high-speed motorcycle.
Not the best outcome for me, as I'm rooting on like chaos happening.
And that will do it for our coverage up here in Air 7. For Johnny Perales, Josh Zeta, I'm Chris Christie. Keep it right here.
Chris Christie. Apparently he was just wanted for speeding, it seems. That's all I can see. Smokey's telling me it's time to get off stream. However, I feel a little let down by that chase. Let me go to the front page and see if we've had a chase happen in the last little bit. I'll give you another chase, or I can go to my reservoir of chases that I have bookmarked. I've got them now for any kind of special occasion. I feel I need to bust a police chase out. Let me go find this one. YouTube live channels. What's going on, Nunya? Happening on the YouTube live channels. Looks like the Tesla cryptocurrency scam, Fortnite, lo-fi hip-hop radio. That's all I'm seeing. Yeah, watch a chase from the 70s. Did they have the, they probably had a helicopter. Did they have a helicopter that had a good camera where they could follow a suspect back in the 70s? Anonymous Gifter throwing out the gift sub. Thank you, Anonymous Gifter. You are awesome. We're on our way to my goal of 69 subs. Nice. It's gonna be really nice. I think we watched this one. Yeah, we did. I've got so many chases. We've watched several of them. Did we watch this one? Cause it kind of looks familiar to me. What's this? Car Chase Channel ABC? Well, I'm subscribing to that. I'm gonna pack another bowl. 3 RHTS, what? Let's see what's going on here. If the YouTube catches up to me. T-minus 2011. What's going on, my friend? Here we go.
Of course, if he continues, as he just went through that red light there, if he continues some of the wild driving we've been seeing, well, then certainly...
Wild driving, that's what I like to hear.
...of a major crash. And I really thought when we first pulled up on this pursuit, guys, as they were tracking him from above,
That's what we came for.
That he was going to end up crashing into something or somebody, and certainly judging from the condition of the vehicle, as I mentioned, it looks like he has hit something, but he is slowing down a little bit, a little more composed here, but still going right through these red lights.
Light one up, tip one back.
Yeah, continuing down West Adams Boulevard, now encountering a little bit of traffic here. He's signaling a left turn at Western.
Go through him.
At Adams Boulevard and Western, and we'll see if he does make the left turn here, but he's not going around traffic. He feels comfortable enough sitting behind these two cars who are sitting at a red light, and he is in that left turn lane. So we're seeing a little bit of change in behavior here as he kind of decides what he wants to do, where he wants to go. Again, LA County Sheriff keeping an eye on him, calling out the position, and perhaps they may be able to triangulate units
go down a block, make a turn, maybe
vicinity. But right now, he is continuing the joyride without anybody behind him, so he's got very little pressure and very little reason to continue pushing the pedal to the metal at high rates of speeds through these residential neighborhoods, which is really the intention of pulling back. When they decide to 1022 a pursuit, which is the code for cancel the pursuit, and they have the luxury of the helicopter overhead, the intention is to take some of the pressure off, lower the driver's adrenaline.
You can see the damage on the left front there.
Changes his driving behavior. So he's continuing now west through the intersection, lots of cross traffic, through the red light, and is
so happy to see you.
Paralleling the one, I'm sorry, paralleling.
I hope you've been well.
Heading in towards West LA here, just south of the freeway.
A spike and hook? They have the spike strips, but they're not, like, we've seen them. I think it's more the cops deploying them
And it could be one of several answers. Could be under the influence.
are really incompetent when they're using the
or some other narcotic, and if it's not that, then it very well be a wild joyride in a car that does not belong.
We've seen them be effective as well.
When you steal the car,
I'm so close. I need like another couple hundred followers to be able to go live on TikTok.
Indicative of a stolen vehicle.
We'll put the Troll Patrol live on TikTok for the youngins.
I would not be surprised.
But you guys gotta help. Go follow me on TikTok if you're not following me.
And you can only help.
Kikyo totally following me on TikTok.
Was in earlier this afternoon compared to what we're seeing now.
Probably need to post more.
Heavy front end damage and some debris, or I should say, some car parts dragging along the right side.
My last video got community.
He must have run into something along the.
Oh, is it 500 followers now? I might be able to do it then.
If he hits anything else, just
I think I got like 540, 500,
vehicle,
610.
Here so far. The wheels are intact. The axles are moving straight. He seems to have no problem controlling the steering. So it's handling okay for an older model Kia, but that could change in even a small collision that throws off, a bumper into the tire or what have you. There's so many ways that this vehicle can become disabled if it collides with anything else.
That front fender is pretty fucked up.
I'm sorry. You repeat that one more time? There was at least one, and maybe even more. We only have confirmation of one person that got out of the vehicle. But
fucking A, Nanya.
They did go running through some houses in the South LA area, and I don't believe there were any.
That's what we call kicking authority in the balls.
Or at least that one suspect, the passenger.
He's kicking authority in the balls.
Gotten away, although the helicopter did call out that person's location, so maybe there's some hope there. But as for the driver himself, he appears to be
love that graphic.
The only one in the vehicle. We just can't confirm that because you can see from the driver's side here that rear window is pretty heavily tinted, just a little too hard to see if there's anybody else inside this compact.
Oh, that fucking fender is fucked up.
Driver, but there could be more. Always a possibility.
I can't imagine that it isn't going to puncture that tire.
A weapon or concern of a weapon in the vehicle, or some other circumstance or background on what other crimes were committed here. But in any event, the joyride.
Hell yeah! Thank you so much, Mitochondria.
Random left and right turns, zigzagging his way through the South LA area near Slauson here, coming up.
But I hate TikTok because, like, I keep getting
the 10 freeway down 4th.
I keep getting community guidelines, whatever the fuck they call it.
Any of the red lights, just
the video I did with the dude, the MAGA streamer.
Danger in the process.
it got me for misinformation. I don't even know what misinformation was in it. What could even be considered misinformation? Fucking stupid. TikTok is stupid with their rules. Flash, I had a piece of pine wood that I had like the handle taped up of it.
I'm just trying to get a
and a cop took it from me one time.
No, it is certainly weird. The behavior here. And
I was like, no, that's a tire thumper.
Seems so unnecessary. And I'll be honest with you, this is the type of situation, in full transparency here, that
a piece of hickory.
Just slow down and start stopping at some of these stoplights and stop sign and red lights and stop signs. It is the kind of situation.
Yeah, I guess a bat is the best thing because they can't say shit about it.
Aware of
the baseball bat.
That the sheriff's department and CHP would likely.
I really like my piece of hickory.
Because
it felt good in my hands.
Or putting more lives in danger in terms of dedicating resources to put to put this into pursuit mode again. Again, we're in LAPD's jurisdiction. There are no LAPD units in the.
My name is Mud.
They are certainly tracking the movements of this.
That was fucking man. Like I can't pick a favorite from the last time I saw Promise. But my name is Mud was like especially fucking good.
We would likely.
Holy fuck!
Get a good night's sleep.
Blew me out of the
for the
fucking
dangerous
arena.
Driving that we've seen here. The pursuit has been abandoned. CHP has given it up. The sheriff's department is just calling it out from above. LAPD, again, not involved in this tracking mission. So there is
Here, you still in here? You can vouch for it. My name is Mud. Was so fucking awesome. But like,
getting a lot
the whole night was awesome.
If he just slows down, even the helicopter would most likely call it off.
Oh God! Don't run over that dude.
Thank you. Now you see him stopping at a crosswalk. Fortunately,
I'm glad he stopped at the crosswalk.
Street there, again, making random turns left and right, no real rhyme or reason, which tells you that he doesn't have a clear destination in mind. And we'll see if that.
But where was he going without ever knowing the way?
Who, as of right now, is still tracking his movements.
Oh shit. Ducky, were they on their phone? So often. You'll see people driving funky and they were on their fucking phone. Anti-war machine, yes. I believe the reporter was mocking the stolen Kia.
Yeah, and so far we really.
The idea that it was a Kia when we were listening earlier.
Although, again, as I first mentioned, when we first pulled up on this, it was
just what was handy.
Much more daring. The driving was going. Well, he was much faster. He was able to find lanes where he wasn't seeing much traffic as he is right now, where he's basically forced to stop. What we're not seeing is him trying to get around these cars. So. Well, just as I say that, look at him pulling it into reverse and watch him, just as we're talking about it, try and cross those double yellow lines. Look at this, guys.
Can't go to jail for stealing a Kia.
Try and pull into those oncoming lanes.
Or are you saying, if you're going to steal something, you better make it better than a Kia?
And that is going to up the ante here for that sheriff's department helicopter. Whether that
because if I misread that,
involved here, look at this head-to-head through a busy intersection, now pulling into the correct lanes, and that is the type of move that is going to.
It'd be hilarious if you went in front of a judge and was like, "It's just a fucking Kia.
Putting lives in danger.
I can't give you any kind of charge for that."
So will his destiny.
Media Winch, good evening. Yeah, we had one. We had a motorcycle chase that we were watching, and it was really fun. But then he just ran out of gas.
It shows you that he's feeling a little bit.
And it came to a very uneventful ending, and I'm like, well, fuck it. We have to have another chase.
You just based on what we saw just there, you saw a few.
So we have a stolen Kia, and this happened about a week ago.
But certainly he saw something he didn't like that really. he saw a jam in front of him that he was trying to get out of. When he sees these pickles, he gets desperate.
Pickles.
Look at that. Another busy intersection here at the red light, coming head-to-head with an innocent motorist, now crossing another busy intersection here. A lot of cross traffic, making a left turn there right through at King
Left
Boulevard.
is best.
Making a left turn as we make our way. We're in Lemur Park, or at least near Lemur Park, as he now, I believe, is going southbound, Rob. It looks like he's going eastbound. He's going eastbound towards USC. He's going eastbound towards USC now, and seeing a lot more rush hour traffic as he does so.
We're in rush hour. Seems to actually be kind of light for rush hour. What music are they listening to inside their Kia? Stolen Kia.
It started in Hawthorne. CHP initiated
Speed limit
the
chase.
was the lead agency, and once he got off the 110 freeway, they followed him onto the 110, chased him up the 110, and pretty much once he got off the freeway, California Highway Patrol decided to abandon the pursuit, which gives you some indication that the original may not have been all that serious. But what we have seen since then is some very dangerous driving, which certainly is serious to any objective observer here, but still not serious enough for LAPD to get involved and take over this pursuit. So it's a situation where, if I'm not mistaken, Dan, correct me if I'm wrong, did the Sheriff's Department pull off, or are they still down there? They did. So the Sheriff's Department...
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure.
There is now
okay, so...
monitoring this pursuit.
A lot of times we ask questions that are about rational thought, and people that are doing things like stealing a Kia and running from the cops aren't thinking rationally.
Here through South LA, unless things get even more dangerous, and then of course,
the underpass trick seems to be the
right now
best maneuver you can do.
On a very dangerous.
So everyone, just in case you're ever leading police on a chase, the underpass trick seems to be the most effective trick. It is not illegal for me to give you crime tips, is it?
Yeah, we've seen
Freedom, welcome back.
Collision.
That was the puppy.
Too many for my liking, and certainly the driving.
Enjoy the walk.
Actually, kind of getting worse again as we make our way back towards the 10 freeway. As
Parking structure is a good spot.
Eastbound, I have to wonder whether he plans on taking the 10 freeway or if he just.
But also, it depends on where you're at. If you're in a place like Eastern Kentucky,
taking another
East Tennessee,
moving south. And look at that, another just very random turn. That
you don't have to go under an
no real clear.
You don't have to go under an overpass.
Making these decisions at the very last minute.
Go down a holler.
Right,
go through the different forks.
Busy intersections, and in some cases we have already seen
Kanye, my friend. Good evening.
Crosswalks and people crossing the street, which is really what makes me the most nervous. Because if he continues driving like this, it becomes only a matter of time before somebody gets hurt here. In fact, I think everybody involved would rather see him on the freeway at this juncture. It just happens to be the middle of rush hour, and if he gets back on the freeway, he's going to be sitting in traffic, and that has proven to be something that he has chosen to stay away from. He sees traffic, he sees a traffic jam, he gets into a pickle, he starts getting more desperate, the driving gets more dangerous, and the cycle continues. So right now, coming up on Figueroa here, which is just a block off of the 10 freeway, we'll see if he makes a left or right.
I mean, if you're trying to get away from the cops, wouldn't you just
on Figueroa
go on the freeway? Wouldn't you try to go like Mexico or something?
Into the driver's seat here, a little bit difficult to make out an accurate description here, but coming into a gas station, and that's one of the things that I am afraid of, because we have no idea how much fuel is in the tank, but that is one of the few ways that this will end, is if he runs out of fuel, he will either get out of the vehicle and run on foot, or hide out somewhere else and walk away,
It almost looks like somebody has cut the sheet metal away
now he's trying
on the
to swing
tire.
through here as he comes up on the 10 freeway, coming very close once again, communicating with a random motorist right next to him, pointing towards the sky. He's looking out the window, trying to communicate with that driver, now rolling the window down, and he's flashing gang signs at that driver.
Gang signs!
He knows that person or recognizes the person. He may have even met up with somebody he knows. Very possible. Very, very possible. If he
Wait, what?
Gas, he may have planned on doing a switcheroo here, and he may very well switch vehicles if he indeed is out of gas. Right now, looks like he's going to continue to gas it through this intersection, now making a right turn again off of King, and that'll put him on the freeway. Southbound 10 freeway.
Oh, now that is some rush hour traffic. Yeah, because he's going to get stuck. Ain't going to be anywhere to go up here.
And here he is, stopping. Hold it here, let's hold up. We're gonna.
Oh, he backed into him.
He just reversed into that LAPD black and white, put it in reverse as those patrol officers were about to exit their vehicle and execute a felony stop.
Beautiful.
Immediately put it in reverse, and there has now been a collision with LAPD. That's going to change things dramatically here. It's just a matter of time now whether we see if he gives up. It looks like he is. Nope. He's going to keep going. The vehicle's moving. Guns trained on that vehicle. And now he's stepping out. That is the best possible resolution as he steps out of the vehicle.
Oh, nuts.
Now stepping out of the vehicle, walking backwards in the direction of that LAPD patrol car. And he has decided.
I thought we were going to get crazy.
The thing he's done all afternoon is give up right here when he did. Because after coming into contact with that LAPD.
Well, yeah, he isn't getting shot.
Have attempted assault on a law enforcement officer.
I might have been rooting for that.
It changes everything. Fortunately, we get
just chaos, not necessarily him getting shot.
To an end on the 10 freeway.
I'd rather him get away.
Just off to the side here on the shoulder.
Unless he was that serial rapist that we watched. There was a police chase with this serial rapist.
Prepare to take the driver into custody, and then the next.
I'm all for that dude getting taken into custody.
Anybody else, but he is underneath the Vernon overpass. And we will see him now step towards these officers.
No quitting here, kid. What we're rooting for.
Yep, that's about the best case scenario that we could have hoped for, especially when you think about some of the dangerous driving, especially during the last couple of minutes there. More backup pulling into position. The suspect, I believe, is still proned out in front of the PD vehicle, Rob. Am I right?
I'd kind of like to be a...
They just want to make triple sure...
reporter that does
inside of that
police chases like this. The dude that's in the helicopter, I'd like to be that dude. But, like, I'd totally be rooting for the criminals and shit. And to be honest with you, I kind of think they are too. We've heard this guy do commentary on chases multiple times.
I'm sorry, I've got to turn this radio off here. There was
I feel like he's rooting the criminals on as well.
If he just slowed down and started, driving even, remotely more safe, he likely would have gotten away completely. But I think the dangerous joyride on live television.
What kind of bank were you robbing?
Has the ability.
Don't be talking about robbing no bank.
Law enforcement, including LAPD, and it certainly appears they decided enough is enough. This was getting too dangerous. They had enough units right there in the vicinity, and they were able to get him right as he was getting onto the freeway there. And now
you think I should do a demo for you guys on stream? Record my commentary and then send it in? Like, this is what I can do if you put me in your helicopter? I've been playing Red Dead. I'm all about robbing a bank.
Impact traffic. You can see them tying up the right two lanes. Traffic is getting by on the left. They've now shut down the entrance ramp to the Harbor Freeway. but it's the absolute worst time of the day.
Boy, howdy is it the worst time of the day.
Here, make sure there's nobody else inside the car. It certainly appears they are about to give the code 4 here.
Not nowadays. There's no money in robbing banks.
Car, but let's go ahead and widen out, and you can see what this has done to
Yeah, $1 million watches is where it's at.
side of the 110 freeway, is all jammed up straight through downtown LA. If you are heading home from work right now, be prepared for a very slow Friday evening commute.
Go steal gold bars from Bob Menendez. He don't need those fuckers. Well, our chase came to a peaceful end.
Everybody.
I still feel a little disappointed. It's like you go out to dinner and you don't get full. It was a pretty good. Both were pretty good chases. Just both came to like uneventful conclusions. Do we agree? That seems about right? Ooh, made tacos again. You want your BJ, eh?
I can't wait to have your cock in my mouth. I'm going to give you the blowjob of your life. Then I want you inside of me.
I still think my favorite chase was the woman that she wasn't actually in her underwear. She was in like boy shorts, like spaghetti strap top, and like she pulled over in the middle of the chase and got out and got something out of the back of her car and got back in. She got like her homework out of the back of her car or some shit. I didn't know if that was salmon or if that was like a tuna steak. I couldn't figure it out. Because if it's salmon, why'd you cut the skin off of it? That's the best part of salmon. That's a steak? Big cow steak? I thought it was a piece of tuna. Whatever it is, that cat really fucking wants it. Now, Wagyu is, it's really marbled. It's a really high fat content. And that's, I mean, that's not a bad looking piece of steak, but it doesn't have a lot of fat in it. Anti-war machine, Jinx. Sorry, coming in here, talking food with a foodie. I have had Wagyu. I wasn't that impressed, and it also probably wasn't real Wagyu, right? Wasn't like Japanese Wagyu. It was some sort of fucking American fucking cow that had like 20% Australian Wagyu. Oh, not a conjurer. Fucking have a, how do I, I do have them as emojis. I don't have them set right now. Yeah, because I'm not seeing them. Yeah, I had Smokey, Maynard, and Socks. All three of them were emojis. I don't know why I don't have them set. I think so for the like tier 1 subscribers. I wanted to give everybody like all the different troll emotions. I think. Or the trolls, the follower emotes. I don't fucking remember. I think I made all the different troll emotions, the follower emotes. That could be it. So if you become a follower, you get all the different troll emotions. I don't remember, and I wanted to try to upload some different shit, but like I haven't had time because there's more slots now and shit. I need to like rearrange stuff. So sorry, I've been slacking on emotes. I will fix emotes up at some point in time. Because I think I even got more slots for, you know, motion gifts.
You think you just fell out of a coconut tree?
Maybe I need a coconut emoji. A lot of the shit that I tried to do for emotes got rejected for like sexual, drugs, smoking. Just saying, like a lot of my shit got rejected last time, and then I got restricted from being able to upload emotes. I didn't upload any nudes. The only nude I uploaded is if you subscribe to my YouTube. Not subscribe. Become a member on YouTube. You get to see my dick. You can totally see my dick. And Patreon. People that subscribe to Patreon or are a member on YouTube can totally see my dick. Oh my God, Venus! Now I'm kind of embarrassed. I just assumed nobody would ever see it. That was my thought process. I want to say there were 2 people in my apartment when I was in college. One of them was like an art student, and she was like sketching, and I was naked for some. I think she made me get naked. I can't remember how it happened, but she ended up sketching me. If you're watching on Twitch, we're gonna get high society going on. By high society, I mean getting high with my friend Jason over at Jason's Society. So go ahead, light one up, tip one back. It's all right to have a little fun before you hit the sack. I'm JustinFREAKIN. It's possible I'll come on, hang out with you guys at some point in time over the weekend, but probably not, because the DNC starts next week. So it's probably going to have to be some really big breaking news to get me to come on. You guys have a great weekend. I'll see you Sunday night on the Troll Patrol live.